Well, everybody's heard about the bird. The bird's a winner. Well, a bird.
Grown men watch this shit?
A podcast about indie wrestling.
Bird is a winner. Well, a bird. Well, a bird is a winner. Well, a bird. The bird's a winner. Well, a bird. Well, a bird is a winner. Well, a bird. The bird's a winner. Well, a bird.
Fuck, how do we normally start this?
Right,
I got this.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very exciting edition of
Grown men watch this shit?
Indeed. This is quite the sizable episode. We have live show reports. We have a sweet interview with Adam Bruiser of Underworld Wrestling. But
Back-to-back Underworld Wrestling interviews we're doing. It's a trend going through Grown Men Watch This Shit.
It sure is, and I'm loving the shit out of it, as you will too, so stay tuned, but beep, 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 beep.
David
Holy
Arquette
shit.
Watch.
Holy
shit.
The biggest, most monumental, most newsworthy edition of David Arquette Watch in history.
Yes.
Fuck me.
And the best part about it is it was double full, because at first, when the match where everyone knows about what we're about to discuss was first announced, me and Chris both lost our minds. And it lived up to all hype and then some. And of course, we were talking about David Arquette versus
Nick
one badass
fucking
motherfucker.
Gage.
Gage, baby. Holy shit.
Game Changer Wrestling, Joe Janela, LA Confidential. Fuck me. This match over-delivered, I could say, and then some. There was some controversy possibly, but in my mind, this was probably the most enjoyment I have ever had watching wrestling. What? Talk. What are your thoughts?
Well,
Let's just jump in. What?
The best part is Twitter being so lit with basically David Arquette's in a death match. David Arquette's in a death match. Like, what age are we living in? 2018. David Arquette,
So
former
surreal.
WCW champion, panned for the most part. Now reliving some old glory and actually, going way past expectations, so much so getting in this death match, getting a lot of color, and then essentially shooting on Nick Gage at one point during the match.
Yep. He got up. He left the match. I don't know whether he was looking for some sort of emergency support to fix his neck that wasn't there, and just thought, "Fuck it, I'm going to get back in this ring." But oh my gosh, everything about this was spectacular. I mean, we've spoken before at length of like every when it was first announced, this comeback to pro wrestling, to his first match with RJ City, to just all of the twists and turns that we've been able to cover for our loyal listeners, because clearly David Arquette is our favourite topic of 2018.
He loves wrestling, and we love him for it.
We sure do. But I mean,
Dude,
I think
the fallout.
Well,
We should
before we
discuss
get to
the
the
fallout.
fallout, I wanted
Go.
to, just the thoughts going into it. When you heard this was announced, you're like, this is David Arquette against Nick Cage. What the fuck's going to happen? It's like so much mystery, and I don't know. It's like, is this going to be... Because we've seen Nick Cage before do matches that aren't necessarily all that death matches, like the Rich Swann one from the Game Changer Wrestling Live Fast, Die Young, I thought was a great example of Nick just going out there and fucking wrestling. I mean, sure, in the finish he threw a motherfucker through a door, but apart from that, it was pretty much just a really good wrestling match. So, I mean, that's pretty much what I was expecting here. Maybe just like a real, a solid little wrestling match for David Arquette to do his lucha spots. Nick Gage makes him look good, beats the shit out of him to an extent. Maybe we'll see some doors or something. But, oh my gosh, I had no expectations whatsoever for, like, real, proper, full-blown deathmatch wrestling with light tubes and shit. Fuck me, when those light tubes came out, I was like, oh shit, hold on to your asses. I was almost thinking they were going to tease them and maybe use them just for one spot for the finish. That was my expectation then. But no, it was quite a bit more than that, sir.
Yeah, quite a bit of blood. I love the cutter
Oh yeah.
across the fucking light tubes on the chairs. That honestly one of the coolest looking images for me. I'm not a big fan of death matches, but it looks so fucking dope. What a
Oh
spot!
yeah, and like
And
the
then
Yo Holmes to DDP with the diamond cutter with the reference there, and all of us knowing about the DDP feud from Ready to Rumble. Every time I see him do the DDP spot, the diamond cutter, it makes me very happy. But through light
yeah,
tubes, oh my.
yeah, and then some fun cameos, of course. So the cameo I was expecting was it was Messiah, right? That showed up.
Yeah, but first we had Joey Ryan.
Oh yeah, Joey. Yeah,
So
then
Joey was
fucking
there with like his arm in the sling because he was originally meant to be Nick Gage's opponent. So he came to save David Arquette, but then running interference to prevent Joey Ryan from getting in is none other than the fucking Messiah of XPW fame. I have not heard that
fucking
motherfucker's
nuts.
name mentioned since he got his was it his pinky that got cut off from Rob Black? Yeah, for stealing his girl or something.
Yeah, fucking nuts. Ugh. Well,
Fuck.
one other thing that I thought was a interesting wrinkle is, so everyone we discussed it before. David Arquette's kind of doing a documentary on this little run of wrestling, and I guess Luke Perry is one of the producers, and he was backstage at this fucking death match. So Luke Perry from 90210 was backstage at a death match
At a Game
where
Changer
David Arquette
wrestling
was
show.
Yeah, like, what the fuck is that? I just love everything about it, actually.
Oh yeah. Overall, like just there was a moment in the match because I was watching it with my good friend Mitch on my couch. He just got into my house like right when this match was just starting. I was like, "Oh, sir, you have gotten here right at the right time." And yeah, just the surrealness of when they got into the light tubes, and they're really Nick Gage has given him the real what to with these light tubes, and
Giving him the business.
David Arquette is up for everything seemingly. It's like did he just get there? I saw a picture where they had a nice dinner with one another before the show.
Oh my god!
Just so classy. It was amazing. It was almost like one of those scenes where they have the dinner for two in the WWE thing where they make it look like quite the classy scene. And just Nick Gage and
I'm
David
gonna
Arquette.
fucking hit you with some fucking mind boobs. Man, this is pretty good poutine. That was my terrible Nick Gage impression.
Yeah, some excellent Pinot Noir too.
Yes, sir.
But
MDK.
yeah, MDK motherfuckers. But yeah, like David Arquette is obviously just said, you know what, man, just do it all. I'm up for anything, man. It's just I'm doing a death match. Let's just go for broke, and they fucking did. And yeah, there was a moment where I was just sitting there. I'm like, this is so fucking surreal. Like it's very infrequently where you have these moments where you just look at what you're watching and you look at it in the context of the current year and just all of the wrestling you've seen up to that point. And you're like, this is the most bizarre, surreal, crazy thing that I've ever seen. I watched it live as well, which added to it. Bought the old pay-per-view off of Fight.tv and contributed to the charities that Joey and Brett Lauderdale and Game Changer Wrestling are working with. I believe the shootings and the wildfire relief. So good stuff there, guys. But yeah, I was just looking at it. I'm like, this is just fucking nuts and amazing, and I'm so excited, and just like everything about this is just coming to a head. And then the big moment that everyone talked about, I guess, where Nick was really fucking doing his all out. The death match thing with the light tubes, where he's just like got the jagged broken light tube and he's just like crunching it into his like shoulder neck kind of area. And it's like, this is fucking intense. It's like just one of those real heated moments. And so this is where the mystery comes about, I guess as soon as I saw it, I was like, I think David Arquette just freaked out in the moment because it just got a bit much for him, the intensity of the moment. He hasn't done this before. It's got to be just a crazy thing. And he turned around, which resulted in him turning into the light tube on the wrong angle and it creating quite a large puncture hole in his neck, which is no good. But yeah, then he took Nick down. It was a weird bit of a moment. Then he got up, walked out. We said he came back and then fucking really sabooed a chair at him with the through the light tubes. That was pretty great. Nick just fucking killed him with another light tube shot, and then did like a shoot judo takedown for the shoot 1, 2, 3. And I was like, this whole thing, wow.
Yes.
What more can you say than wow?
And then, of course, David Arquette came out and said he won't be doing any more death matches. He commended Nick Gage and everyone at GCW for their professional, and he said he agreed to everything that he was getting involved in.
I thought that was great because there was so many pieces of shit on Twitter that were just like, oh, that guy was really unsafe and just unprofessional and all this shit, and then they're putting shit on Joey Janela, even in addition to Brett Lauderdale and GCW as a whole. And it's like, these people clearly don't know what they're talking about. But yeah, then it was awesome that David Arquette actually came out in defense of all of that. And it's like, guys, stop talking shit about him. All this is on me. I thought that was a really classy move. And again, this is why we love David Arquette on this show.
Well, then it even went in another layer than that. Everyone who's a big fan of David Arquette in Ready to Rumble knows that one Shane Helms was actually his stunt double and helped train him. Shane actually came out and said, sorry, Dave, you're being a little naive. These guys took advantage of you. They took advantage of your star power, put you in a situation you weren't ready for. He said a commendable booker would never have done that. A respectable booker would never have done such a thing. So it's just weird how so many opinions about such a crazy agreed upon wrestling match can spur out to, one Shane Helms, me and you.
So many different perspectives. I mean, we all know that Shane Helms is a bit of an outspoken guy from a lot of his different things that he said, his shows, thing on Shawn Michaels, this, that, the other. So yeah, I mean, a guy that's not afraid to speak out. But again, I think that was a horse shit perspective to have. And again, same thing. I was actually watching an amazing episode of Joe Rogan's listening to episode of Joe Rogan's podcast with Jake the Snake, which, holy fuck, everyone needs to take 2 hours out of your life and listen to that one. Incredible. But part of it, Joe puts on this match in front of Jake, and they just watch it, and Joe's just like blown away. But yeah, then you're getting like Jake the Snake's perspective of what happened, and he was like, oh, definitely a double cross. Yeah, he got fucked. Look, see where he like turns around to this? He was supposed to go over, but then, guy changed it on him in the ring. It's like, clearly do not know what you're talking about, but everyone likes to talk about it, right? Everyone's got to get their perspective out there.
Yes. Opinions. That's why we do this fucking show, huh?
I mean, it's not like we have to get our opinions out there on anything, right?
Yeah, it'd be amazing if we just did the show. It's like, I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm not sure what to say, but a lot of people have a lot of good points. So
a lot of good points across the board. Just a very political, like, presidential response. It's a complicated issue. A lot of different opinions.
I mean, I like the show, but I can see why people didn't like the show. I mean, it makes sense. What the worst podcast of all time. Yeah.
No, I'm happy to say that I thought the whole thing was awesome. Whoever says this was a black eye on wrestling, just fuck you. I think this was amazing. It was a surreal, once in a lifetime moment, and that's what Joey said as well. And in like his tweet after the show, it's like, this is someone people are going to look back on in 10 years and be like, holy fuck! Remember that time when David Arquette did a death match and wrestled Nick Gage?
Yeah.
Like, this was an amazing thing to be part of. The amount of publicity that it got in terms of getting deathmatch wrestling over to people otherwise who would have no idea about it, I thought was awesome. Brought a lot more attention to independent wrestling as a whole, and especially Game Changer Wrestling, which we've been talking about favorably for a long time. More people need to get on board with GCW, and I cannot wait for WrestleMania weekend. But yeah, I think it was just great as a whole. I'm glad. I bet, by the sounds of it, David Arquette and Nick Gage got to patch this up afterwards from something that went a little bit awry. But yeah, I don't think there's anything negative about it whatsoever. I think the whole thing, fucking awesome. Bravo.
Right on.
Mm-hmm.
Brother.
And the rest of that show was badass as well. Did you get to catch any of the rest of the stuff?
I did not. I just tried to cram in the one thing to make sure so we could talk about it, but
cool.
The rest of the show sounded awesome, except for a lot of fucking freaky shit, like Marco Stunt now having to have surgery, unfortunately.
Gosh, the camera angle on the live show didn't actually catch it properly, but then I saw like a fan cam review of it, and the finish was, after they did so much insane shit. Eli Everfly, The Fly, and Marco Stunt, two guys that generally will go out there and probably, the other guy will ask them what they want to do, and they'll just say, I'll fucking do anything. So it's normally on the opponent to, I guess, be the voice of reason. There was no voice of reason in this room.
Yeah, no, sir.
There's so many crazy spots. There's one particular dragon, Poison Rana, where I think it was Marcos, just took it like on the top of his head in like the most uncomfortable, awful looking position, where I was really concerned about his neck when the thing happened at the end, and everyone's like, oh shit, Marcos is hurt. I'm like, fuck, I hope he's not paralyzed, because the finish was a Canadian destroyer through a door off the stage.
Yeah. Fucking stupid.
And I was really worried about his neck because of that Poison Rana. It turns out when you watch this like fan camera perspective, it was actually his leg that got landed on this chair awkwardly, and it sounded like really bad news regarding that leg injury. It's going to be on the shelf for a little while, sadly.
Yes, sir.
But apart from that, there was some rad shit on this show. I really wanted to call out the awesome Sasuke match with DJZ, because Sasuke was originally meant to wrestle Amazing Red. But Amazing Red couldn't come out because of the flights being fucked that weekend. But no, I thought DJZ, that match was awesome. It was so great. I didn't even know how good these guys were going to mesh together, but it was fantastic. I guess a lot of it also maybe DJZ's experience in the lucha style as well, and how much Sasuke has been like such a pioneer of that lucha Rasu kind of hybrid lucha Japanese style for so many years. But yeah, that was great. I also thought Brody King and Holly was like way better than I think anyone's expectations in terms of two big bowling motherfuckers just going out there and beating the shit out of one another.
That sounds great.
Yeah, I mean, the live feed cut out and everyone was so upset, but then they put the match out for free, so everyone can make sure to check out that if you don't see any of the rest of this show. Great stuff. And then my match of the show was the return of Human Tornado to wrestle Penelope, and I loved this match. Like, I was such a Human Tornado fan back in the day with his sort of OG PWG stuff, like his tag team with El Generico. Like, dude was awesome. He was like PWG champion and almost
two skinny black guys.
Yeah, two skinny black guys. One of the greatest tag team names of all time. But yeah, him and Penelope went out there and had this badass match. And they got to the near falls. Like, it was like a real intense, like, Human Tornado turned up his like mean guy side, which we would see upon occasion back in PWG. And just, real piece of shit to Penelope through the match, and just the heat for it and the near falls, and the Tornado did not in any way go light because he was working a girl, and I always respect that. If you're going to do an intergender match, go all out, and that's what he did. Very similar to kind of like the awesome Chris Dickinson match that he had with Princess Kimberly up in Beyond Wrestling that got quite a bit of attention a few years ago. So I thought that this was a great match. Overall, really fun show. I don't have anything bad to say about it, and I can't wait to see what Game Changer Wrestling does next.
Yes, sir. And just speaking back on last couple of shows, we've talked about a lot of injuries actually, and something really awesome that Pro Wrestling Tees did is they set up a specific page on their site for wrestlers who are currently dealing with an injury and could use a little extra attention and a little extra funding, so fans could go and support directly. Maybe they didn't know a wrestler's injured, or maybe they just want to check this page out and support some wrestler they don't even know by buying some merch. It's anything they could do to help out, and Pro Wrestling Tees is added this specific page. I don't have the address, but I'm sure
people can find out, through the magic of Google.
Yes,
I reckon
sir.
You can get
or
onto
Twitter.
This.
You can get on there. But yeah, check it out, dude. That's really awesome,
really
and
cool.
I think Marco's got a page up there.
I heard Marco is also there's some bum bags that are being sold to raise funds for him. I'm not sure exactly where you can find those, but I thought that was great. You know, as much as an aficionado of fanny packs, bum bags, as everyone knows as I am, that's great. Everyone, get yourself a bum bag and support Marco's stunt.
Top notch.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, I think that'll do us there. Let's get into the show reports. Let's go on to that, and then everyone stay tuned for a really fun interview with Adam Bruiser as a main event of the show. All right, guys. So I feel a little bit strange here because I'm recording for the first time without Jeremy. I feel a little bit like I'm cheating on him. However, it's just for a short part of the show, so I feel like it's vaguely going to be okay. We'll see. However, myself and my good friend Mitch, as has been referred to previously on the show, went to a Brisbane wrestling show this evening, the Pro Wrestling League. As you would. It was their first ever show, and we thought that it would be a fun little idea to give our immediate post-show thoughts. So, welcome to the program, Mitch.
Hi.
How are you?
I am fantastic, especially knowing that I have a moniker, including good friend Mitch. All the listeners finally get to hear my deep baritone and assign it to the name every time.
As we know from this show, we only have my friends
on the show. We also know you ask all the hard-hitting questions.
Oh, indeed.
You were telling me before that you, Chris, are actually a cold pasta man. And then you jumped out of your comfort zone and reheated the pasta.
I did. This was in the post-wrestling show, getting back to the house and wanting something to eat, and there was some tasty mushroom pesto pasta in the fridge, and I had a hard decision of whether I just wanted to eat it cold or whether I wanted to go to the effort of reheating it. I had a mouthful cold, and it was good, but I thought that the reheating it would be worth the trouble, and my gosh, it was.
See, I don't know. I'm one of those definitely pasta has to be hot kind of people, whereas as I was talking to you and Courtney early in the week, I'm one of those weird guys who'll buy a pizza and put it in the fridge so that I can have cold pizza instead. I do a similar thing with sausages. I'll cook sausages and straight into the fridge.
Oh, you creep.
Yeah, I know, but pasta has to be warm.
Yeah, well, I would never buy a pizza to actually put it in the fridge to cool it down to get that, but I definitely share your enthusiasm for next day fridge pizza. It's a special thing. But, I mean, onto the show. It was a fun thing. We were actually thinking of doing like a pre-show little ramble on the way to the show, but we didn't. And it was probably best that we didn't because it turned out there was a fuckload of rain.
Oh my god, it was insane.
Yeah.
It has been many, many years. So for the listening audience at home, I'm 25 years old. I've been driving for 10-ish years. Open license for about 7. I think I've only ever had to pull over because it was raining too hard that I was unable to see once before in my whole life.
It's that sideways rain that
Yeah.
you hear about.
It's one of those insane driving down the motorway, desperately trying to figure out if you're still in your lane because the person ahead of you was turned off, and we had to call it quits.
We did, and at the same time, we're heading down. It's like about an hour's drive to the show, so it was quite the commitment for a Brisbane wrestling show.
Oh my god.
I've sometimes been accused in the past of talking down the local wrestling. I think I'm forever the optimist. However, you know,
that's actually I think the biggest difference between us. People like to liken us a lot, and I don't know, there's the optimist in Chris. I'm the person people are like, oh, Mitch, Brisbane wrestling, and I'm like, whatever you're expecting, I need you to lower that by like 4 bars and just say at least they're trying.
Yeah, so I mean, generally we don't get to most of the Brisbane wrestling shows because of sometimes a potentially low bar. However, I was personally quite enthused about this show because it was a debut show for a new group and they're bringing in a lot of interstate talent. We had quite a few big names on the show from Sydney, probably the biggest being Robbie Eagles.
Sniper of the Sky.
Yes, indeed, the new Bullet Club member himself. He had the feathers and everything in tow. We also had Mick Moretti, another very impressive dude who's been doing a lot of good things in Sydney and has recently come up with this kind of maverick, interesting kind of character.
He's got a sweet, like, vaudevillian, but the whole show in one kind of thing going on.
Yeah, I mean, between the character work and the actual in-ring wrestling as well, I think he's just ready to be at that level of like popping up to be entering that kind of high tier group of Australians that do sweet international stuff. I think like the UK crowd would love it. For example.
Oh, absolutely.
And then we also had Caveman Ugg, who is fucking great. I love Caveman Ugg. I first saw him on a MCW show down in Melbourne, and I just fell in love with the guy straight away. Beforehand, I'd heard of him, and I was like, oh, it's just a dude doing like a Cavernario El Barbaro gimmick.
Which is the first instinct anyone has when they see a long-haired bearded man.
Yeah.
Is they're doing a Cavernario thing, rip-off, right there on the street.
Indeed. But, once you get past those preconceptions, dude's fucking great and just does the gimmick so well.
Yeah, no, he was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard of Caveman Ugg in passing before, possibly only from you.
Mm-hmm. Probably.
Yeah, and I actually think that was the big divide between us going into the show is I don't actually keep in touch with interstate Australia stuff a whole lot. It's really just stuff like I knew Davis, but I really knew Davis because he worked up here. And I knew Robbie because I knew Robbie when he came up here. And so if people hadn't come up here and worked back in the days when we were working, I didn't really have a touchstone for them.
Which is fair enough.
Which I think it leads to a great divide between our opinion of the show. I think Chris had an expectation because he was aware of... I keep swapping between talking to you and talking to a third-party audience.
I mean, it's good.
About you.
Because I personally just get so up my own ass with this show where I just constantly am only talking to the person I'm talking to. Like, we're just having a chat, and I completely ignore and isolate all you listeners at home.
No, but the listeners are the ones who subscribe and buy the merchandise and support the Patreon.
Indeed.
We do. You do gotta get a shirt. You do gotta, because I'm a teacher.
I do gotta.
You have to. You have to get a shirt made that says the dogs have done another run-in.
We've had a few run-ins from the dogs, but they're really nice at the moment.
Yeah, Zigzag's right there. So, back to the show. So,
yeah, we missed a good deal of the show because, here's my first point. I just want to complain about something a little bit. They started the show at the start time of the Facebook event. So the Facebook event said it started at 6:30 in the PMs.
It did.
And it started at like 6:35.
6:35, we got a message from friend Adam, man on the ground. He's like, oh, guys, the show's about to start. We're in torrential rain.
Yeah, even if we didn't have the rain, we still would have been like a good half hour away.
Yeah.
Who starts a show at the time that the Facebook event says it's going to start?
Because the assumption is when you do a Facebook event for an event, the Facebook event is starting early because you get that little reminder, right? So if your event starts on Facebook at 6:30, you get a thing at 5:30 that's like, oh, you've got an event coming up in an hour. It doesn't actually assign to the start time of your show. So we were left to assume that the doors would open at 6:30.
Yeah.
Show would start at 7, which we would have been on time for if not for the blinding rain.
Downpour. Yeah, but I mean, I feel like that's almost like a bit of a comparison to the show as a whole, insofar as it was almost way too organized.
It was too clean for you.
Yeah, it was
You're a dirty
too clean.
man.
Yeah, I like me some dirty indie wrestling, and this was just so clean and well organized, and everything was well put together. The production was great. Everyone had little shirts.
Yeah.
They had fucking shirts
amazing.
made up, man.
Oh, it looked so good though.
They had these polo shirts where they actually had the insignia of the company in the little corner. It was
delightful.
So cute. Oh man.
No.
But yeah, it was this overall, everything was tight. It was like a tight, polished ship. There wasn't any barnacles anywhere to be seen.
It was perfectly executed. Everyone's shirts were crisp. The lighting cues were on point. The sound worked perfectly. The matches all made sense.
Yeah, but I mean, is that what we want out of our indie wrestling show?
Yes.
Do we want it all to be nice and well formatted, or do we want it to just be a fucking car wreck? And then sometimes after the car wreck, you get something amazing. I don't know.
Yeah,
it was
see,
a bit too sterile for me, I want to say.
Yeah, we were talking about this in the parking lot, and back to my expectations thing, because Chris knew more about the interstate guys. I think Chris had an expectation. He's like, this show's going to be really good. Whereas I'm quite known for saying that wrestling is dumb and I hate it. So I was going, like, you could put the 5 best guys in the world on a card, and I'll be like, it's going to suck, because it will, because wrestling is a disappointment. Yeah, it's like university in that way. Anyway, but no, because it was really good and everything worked and it looked really good and the sound was great and all the matches worked real well, and it was just everything was clean and nice and above average, and I was like, this is great, this is amazing, this is so much better than I expected. And Chris over here being like, oh, I expected X, Y, Z, and I only got X and Y. Oh.
Well, it's not. I mean, I compared it to. I think you guys were saying that this show was almost like a good, decent middle of the road beer. You know, it's like you've paid your money. It's delivered above expectations. There wasn't any disappointment. To me, I want my wrestling to be more like a heroin kind of experience.
Yeah,
you know?
want your peaks and your valleys.
I want the high highs. I want the low lows. I want just the feeling in between where you're like, what am I even doing with my life? I want that dirty, visceral, independent wrestling experience, and you get that a lot of the time, and I guess I expect that from some of the shows I've seen in Melbourne. You know, as great as the Melbourne City wrestling is, don't get me wrong, there are sometimes quite the low lows on those shows to match the crazy high highs where you have a Jonah Rock or a Will Ospreay, a Robbie Eagles, like these dudes that are just insanely great, but then you have some dudes quite a ways down from that, and that's what makes you appreciate the high highs, I think, a bit more. So when you don't have those crazy low lows, maybe you don't appreciate the good as much.
You don't, when you haven't had the low lows since the long ago, you don't appreciate the high highs.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, it makes sense.
We did miss about a third of the show, so
I feel like that's what would have given you what you wanted. Maybe,
but so the matches I was most excited for was my friends wrestling really good guys.
Yeah.
So one of the local dudes that I think the most of, Tim the Kincaid, was working Robbie Eagles. Now, any other show in Queensland, that would be the main event of the show.
Yeah.
However, on this show, they did a bunch of singles matches for dudes to qualify into this ladder match main event where they crowned the big new champion of the company. So we sadly missed pretty much almost the entire first round of those matches due to this fucking rain. On a side note, we actually got some tasty chicken ribs at Nando's.
And garlic bread.
And garlic bread.
Don't undersell that garlic bread. Garlic bread was main event.
Yeah, while we waited out the rain. So, I mean, that made me happy. But at the same time, while we were eating those ribs and garlic bread, we were missing out We missed out on Caveman Ugg against Jade Diamond, another guy that's really solid, the Maori Terminator.
We were talking about Jade Diamond as well, because we got a bit of feedback from people who actually made it on time, like professionals,
like well-organized people.
The disappointments they are. What are they doing with their lives? They can make it to wrestling on time.
Oh gosh, nerds.
But no, we basically got the feedback of the Jade Diamond match was really solid, really good, and we had a chat about every Jade Diamond match is really solid, is really good.
Very good, good dude. I always respected his in-ring work. I think, as I was saying in the last show, one of my favorite matches I ever worked was with Josh against him and our guest from the prior show, Slade Mercer. But yeah, sometimes we're not pushed to guess in the right way. A bit further outside of his safety box. I guess maybe Jade Diamond can be a little bit middle of the road.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, of all the matches of his I've ever seen, I don't know how many of them I would ever be like, these are like awesomely exceptional. But I've never seen him do a bad match. He's always had real good, real solid. And to me, that average is like, yeah, dude, he's hitting above world-class athletes' averages for no bad matches.
I'm not that great at, comparisons to baseball stats.
Well,
but,
you've
like,
had that brain damage, so math is hard.
So what's a good batting average? Like, not a crazy great batting average, but like a decent batting average.
You chose a sport we don't know.
Well, you're Australian.
I'm gonna say 12.
This is a part of the conversation that would really be
Yeah,
aided if Jeremy,
If Jeremy were here, no, we should fight through it though. Life is about commitment.
I want to say like a 0.25 batting average.
Oh, see, I went 12, so it's got to be somewhere in between. Let's split in the middle and do 5.
So a 0.12 is what you went with.
No, I meant 12. I don't know if I've ever watched the baseball.
All right. So let's split the difference.
Let's split the difference and say 6. So he's like, I've got a batting average of 6. You know, pretty good.
Yeah. But so with the batting average, it's like a 0.5 would be you hit 1 out of every 2, which would be crazy great.
Yeah, that's insane.
I think generally if you have like a 0.3, that's like very, very good.
Right.
So that's why I went with, I don't know, I may be way out to lunch here.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Way out to lunch. That's what you went with.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But to bring this conversation back into lunch.
We went out, chucked a piss on a bush, you know, had a bit of a smoko, and we're like, right, time to get back to lunch. And we went. Pasta had gone cold. That's all right. That's how we prefer it.
Yeah, indeed.
And so we missed the Jade Diamond match.
Yeah, we missed that. We came into the show during what I decided, because we only saw the finish. But the best match on the show, I think, Mick Moretti against.
I got it. I wrote his name down.
You wrote his name down?
Xander Sullivan.
Xander Sullivan.
Xander Sullivan. We've
him
seen before, but we only know him as Forehead.
Yeah, he has a large forehead.
You see.
But it's not in us making fun of him kind of way. It's like, I think it's a self-depreciation thing where he'll outwardly say it and he has like a little hand gesture and such. Anyway.
He uses it to great effect, as we saw tonight.
Yeah, that match was really good. We only saw the finishing sequence, so we were probably there for like the last 4 minutes, I want to say.
Yeah.
But in that 4 minutes, I was like, this is the best match of the show. And I don't think anything, including the main event, even matched up to that.
No, especially not in crowd reaction. Like even that main event. I mean, the little kids were super into it, which is, what you want.
Yeah.
And, people were doing their chants and doing their claps and stuff, but no one was like into it like they were for that main event we walked in on.
But I mean, then there was a really fun tag match that we got to see, like a 3-way multi-man tag, which was very good. And then like the actual main event with the ladder match was perfectly good. Nothing like crazy dumb spots. There was some innovative kind of stuff. There's a hilarious bit where they did the spot where the ladder is in the other ladder and then between the turnbuckles.
Making like a table platform.
Yeah, ladder platform deal. And we thought there was going to be like a pile driver on it, but the ladder was jutted into the other ladder so barely.
Yeah,
like,
it would have been,
looking at it.
For our American listeners, it would have been a 16th of an inch.
There we go.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It was not secured.
And
it was put at an angle as well. It was not nice and horizontal. There was a decline.
And they stepped, and then the ladder bumped down to the next rung, and the crowd like jumped out of their seats. I know we did. Oh my gosh, it was terrifying.
Yeah.
But they survived. Everyone survived.
My only regret is not chanting "You almost died."
Yeah. And they didn't even know.
No.
They didn't even know how close to death they were.
No. Well, see, Robbie Eagles was involved in that spot, and I like to think he's always on the precipice of death. It's his sweet sniper of the sky gimmick that keeps him alive, and his bandanas.
Yeah, we decided that he's got the multiple bandana thing, and each bandana is either a life bar or like a special orb, like kind of thing. But either way, definite video game reference type of deal. And when he's down to the last bandana, you really know
he's in trouble.
Yeah, shit. If he's actually got no bandanas left, he's pretty much just got to be dead fish selling.
Yeah, see, anyone who's only getting into Robbie Eagles now in his rise through the bowlers and
PWG success and New Japan and
influencing him poorly, will have missed amazing 17 bandanas at once Robbie, which was my favorite Robbie period, when he would have 2 on his head, 2 on his neck, both arms just covered in bandanas, and he's like, do you reckon I could get more on, guys? Do you reckon I could get more bandanas? That was my favorite Robbie period. It's
maybe a slight exaggeration, but probably not that far from
17
reality.
feels are about right.
Maybe. But yeah, Robbie Eagles was very good. I thought he was the highlight of this match. General was a bit of a PWA Black Label kind of tribute, with 3 of the main dudes from there, between Ugg, Robbie and Mick Moretti, and then a Queensland local, Jake Nova. But yeah, a perfectly decent match. But yeah, overall, I think that was the flow of the card for me. Like perfectly decent.
Yeah.
Not crazy great, nothing bad, not offensive, but yeah, it was perfectly good show. The show was actually put on by a dude, Mitch McCarthy is his working name. He's been around Queensland for like bloody forever. And to be honest, I never really liked the guy. Yeah.
You're hearing it here first.
Yeah.
What? I thought you two were like besties.
No, there's just some people in the wrestling business that you just don't vibe with.
You're blowing my mind.
I just never really vibed with him. And so it's just one of those people that you do what we call the Fabe shake to, and that's about it. But I wanted to get to this show because it's important to me to support people that are trying to do something different, and I could tell that he was putting a lot of himself into this. Like he's obviously spent a lot of money on interstate flights, the production values, the shirts.
The production values, like you kind of buried it before with your everything's too clean. I was so impressed with like working lights, and the sound didn't go wrong, and all the videos were really like the presentation was as top-notch professional as I've ever seen from an Australian company, and it's their first show.
Orchestra.
Yeah, well, if you're not in a Latvian hall or a youth orchestra, I don't want to see your product. I'm sorry, but you're not worth my time. If you're if you don't fit in the youth orchestra hall or the Latvian hall, I haven't got time for you.
They are our options for Australian independent wrestling.
Everything's a step up from a bowls club.
But yeah, so I thought it was totally decent, and they've got the next show in February. So it's a bit of a ways between shows. So I guess you can afford to bring back more interstate dudes if you got that much time between shows. I don't know, but it should be fun. We'll keep you posted. Any closing thoughts, my friend?
No, it was really good. Really impressed. Everything was fun. That was my kind of takeaway to every match. Because I was like, oh, that was fun. What a fun time. And what is wrestling if not? I think it's supposed to be fun and enjoyable.
What it's meant to be.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Or have a ton of light tubes. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's up to you, man.
Wrestling is
beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
It's really what you make of it.
Yeah. But no, it was a good fun time. I'm glad we went. I'm sorry we missed all our friends' work.
Oh well, next time.
Yeah.
Next time. Yeah. Anyway, all right. Thanks, guys. I'll see you in our next segment.
Bye.
All right, guys. So we have got our good friend, pretty much our roving Mexican show reporter, good friend of the show, John Kraft.
Now he reports on Mexican shows. He's not Mexican himself, to be 100% clear.
Yeah, just for clarity there for everybody.
Yeah.
Yep. But today, anyway, say hi, John.
Hey guys, thanks for having me back on. Jeremy, good to see you the other day.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so these dudes, we had quite an action-packed Friday, Saturday of last week, where pretty much all of the things happened. I went to a wrestling show here. We had the crazy Joey Janela LA Confidential show, and we had a 3-2-1 battle show that John, as well as Jeremy, the lovely Whitney as well. Did Alicia make it to that one, Jeremy, too?
She did indeed.
Oh, look, the whole American team is together. Look at this. Sorry?
Oh, Justin was there as well.
Oh, yes, indeed. My roommate, the notorious Justin Castile.
Ooh. But I mean, I thought this would be a great little thing to talk about. We've spoken about 3-2-1 battle in the past, and obviously Jeremy has said glowing things. But this was John and Whitney, for that matter, losing their 3-2-1 virginity. So I thought this would be a great moment to document. Get your live show thoughts. 3-2-1's a bit of a different experience. So how did it go?
I loved it, and so did Whitney. As many of our listeners have heard, if they've been following the show for a while, drag Whitney to a lot of shit, and she's seen some good shows. Bola, All In, She told me after 3-2-1 was over, she said, "John, this is one of the better shows that I've been brought to. This is a really good time." And I can repeat that all the way. We all know I'm a fan of our local, comedy variety show with wrestling.
Mm-hmm. Yep, Lucha Libre
When
and
it was just very focus on but this show here was all focused on
Oh, you're breaking up a bit there, John. You're breaking up a
Robo
little
John
bit.
is coming in.
I should have gotten on Wi-Fi. I pace when I'm on the phone. That might have something to do with it. Let me just sit down.
Yeah, just stay put.
Just shut the fuck down, dude. We're doing a show here.
No, great show. It was very entertaining all the way through. Really enjoyed the Hood Slam guys they brought in. The opening match was easily the best match of the night for me. Great time.
That's awesome. I didn't even know that Hood Slam had a presence, because to me, like, Hood Slam is almost like the 3-2-1 battle of where is that? It's like north of LA, but like below you guys.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say
it's just,
Oakland.
it's just north of San Francisco.
Yeah. I've heard great things about it. I really want to make it to a Hood Slam show one day.
Home of MC Hammer.
Ooh. And Drugs Bunny. Is Drugs Bunny still there?
Well, that was what I wanted to bring up. So apparently 3-2-1 did a joint show with Hood Slam a while back, brought in some of those guys, and they had a good reception. They brought them back. I had always wanted to see Drugs Bunny, Funny Bone tag team with him. Drugs was hilarious. Showed up in a white gangster suit with suspenders and a hat with bunny ears on him. Brought out a big old bag of blow, which was, by the taste of it, getting in the air, it was probably powdered sugar.
Boo.
And just for an example, it was a tag team match, right? So at the beginning of the match, they presented the challengers with the belt. He grabs it from the ref, puts a big fat line on it, and just blows it all over the crowd. And then he Popeyed up in the middle of the match. He got worn down. Tag team partner Funny Bone throws in the bag. He does a bag or does a couple lines or whatever. Popeyes up and starts kicking ass again. I mean, it was hilarious.
That's great.
Funniest thing I've ever seen in a wrestling show.
I always love Cocaine Hogan comebacks. They're the best thing in the world.
He's coking up.
He's coking up, brother. He's coking up.
Yeah. And then Jeremy, you know the guys better. I don't remember the names, but talk about that first match, because I think we were all blown away.
First match is my much touted Daniel Makabe, former 3-2-1 Battle Solid Steel champion. Solid Steel. And he was facing another friend of mine, one Sonico, former Seattle Underground champion, the Lucha Ghoul Sonico. So yeah, it was fucking great match. Some really awesome technical wrestling, some fast, high-paced stuff. It started off with a fucking tope through the ropes. So, and that was by Daniel, not the lucha guy per se. Typically the ground-based guy. And they were off and running the whole time. It was just great. Lots of cool spots. And man, they're doing a tournament called the G0 tournament, and you score points, kind of like the G1. And nobody's seen the similarity, but yeah, still fucking great. Two awesome guys, probably two of the best guys there. And what better way to start a show than putting these two guys together? Yeah.
Sonico, like, for a lot of people outside of the Pacific Northwest scene, he's like a really solid, like, luchador dude from up there.
And he's super young.
Impressed. Yeah.
Yeah,
Defies
he
actually
just turned
spotlighted
21,
him a fair
so.
bit.
What
Everyone's
was that,
talking.
Jonathan?
Go on.
John, please.
I turned to Jeremy and said, "Are all these matches going to be this great? This was fantastic." And he said, "I hope so. I mean, this will definitely be one of the better ones." But it should be a good time either way. And he was right. I mean, the wrestling was consistent all the way through, but that first match, it blew me away.
So how did you like it?
I tend to undersell the actual. Sorry, Christopher.
Yeah.
I tend to sometimes undersell the actual wrestling quality because it is such a good time. You go there and you're gonna see the craziest shit. It just happens to be. It's really posted up by a lot of great wrestling this last year.
I mean, I was going to say outside of the wrestling, to me, the best thing about 3-2-1 is just the everything outside of the wrestling, like the whole presentation, the hosts, the live commentary, just the whole, it's like such a unique presentation of fun. That's great. And that's like before the bell even happens. Like, it's just, you can tell there's a big fun vibe. Did you and Whitney like really catch on to that when you were there?
Well, actually, I have Whitney's short notes that she wanted me to mention. As an
Cool.
outsider, I feel like that'd be valuable situation.
Please.
Yes, I love
There
it.
were a few points. First off, the MCs or the hosts of the evening, the very first thing that happened is he came out to the Full House song, dancing
Classic.
to it, and she's a big fan of Full House.
Same.
Like, all right, I'm paying attention. You know, you got 5 minutes. And then the other thing is, and Jeremy will know the name of this guy, but Big Cat. What is Big Cat's name, Jeremy?
Scott Henson, Big Cat Scott Henson.
Big Cat Scott Henson.
Like, is this next
Much
generation Ernie
as
Ladd?
Whitney was.
Nah, man, he's an actual tiger, dude. He's like half man, half tiger.
I
Not a
remember
big tall
him.
black guy.
and
A
half
Canadian
tiger.
guy
It's
who's half
incredible.
tiger.
Okay.
Wow. So, you know, Whitney, as she mentioned, Bulla, she was a big fan of Puma King for the same
Yeah.
cat-like maneuvers. This guy was great. I mean, he owned being a half tiger. You would never believe he wasn't. He was crazy. He was great. And the opposing challenger had came across a laser pointer and was distracting with a laser pointer throughout the match.
Everyone knows
Big
that
Cat's
cats
dancing
are
around.
just suckers for laser pointers. So that's a genius maneuver in my book.
You know, it was. I blame it on the ref for not checking thoroughly to make sure there were laser pointers in the ring or around the ring.
I mean, does that count
it-
as a foreign object? That's the big question.
He never
believe
hit
it's
him with
better.
it. It was simply just a distraction. So, I mean, really, it sounds fair to me.
Yeah, if it doesn't make contact, I mean, it's a blurry line. I mean, we ask the hard-hitting questions here on Grown Men Watch This
But
shit.
you can't blame a guy for seeing a light and getting distracted. Like, there's nothing in the rule book that says you can't shine a light. I mean,
Maybe we need to update that rule book. I don't know.
yeah.
Excellent. That sounds
Should be
great.
amend-
Was my favorite from the 3-2-1 battle show was the big the dad dude. Who am I thinking of here, Jeremy?
Weekend Warrior.
Weekend Warrior. Yeah. He was fantastic. Was he on this show?
This weekend, he was not warrioring it up, unfortunately.
Oh, this was one of his off weekends. He had the kids, I guess.
He had the kids. Yep. Soccer practice.
I love that act so much. It's a perfect gimmick.
It's great.
So he's still kicking around pretty
No,
regularly?
The show was great.
I think he was on a couple shows back. I know he was on the big Battlemania show, but I know it's maybe been a couple weeks since I heard, or a couple shows since I've seen him.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
keep us posted. Dude, go on,
Yes,
Joe.
indeed.
I was just going to say the show was great. I know Jeremy, Whitney, and myself were like checking out Seattle.
Yeah.
Jeremy, can we touch on dinner and the quality of it?
Well, the quality of the dinner was amazing. The awkwardness of the not knowing what I was prepared for, or to be prepared
Don't worry
for.
about all that.
Yeah. So this is a good story.
Right.
So John
yeah,
comes
so-
into town touting how much he wants to go to this particular sushi restaurant for a particular presentation of the meal. It's called omakase, where you actually speak directly and are served directly from the sushi chef. And this is the best sushi place in Seattle. The sushi master, who was taught by one of the biggest sushi guys, Netflix special hero. So yeah, John, we're going there. I'm gonna join him and his wife. Maybe I'm just gonna grab a roll, or maybe some else. I don't know. I'll just see. I'll play it by ear. Well, when we sit down, turns out omakase is the only option. Somebody who goes to sushi often might know this to be the case. I did not. Whitney did not, and evidently John did not. So yeah, we're sitting here. The sushi chef comes over and like, "You like sushi?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "What's something you like, or what kind of sushi you want, or something to that effect?" And I told him a particular kind I liked, and he goes, "Well, don't worry, I've got it handled." And at that point, I knew I didn't get to order anything. They were just going to present whatever came, and it was literally the best meal of my life.
Wow.
And the most expensive thing in my life as well.
So apparently
I
this
think
this
we're
bill
all-
was a little bit of a
because of that.
surprise, huh?
Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't necessarily have the money sitting around, but it's like when in Rome, eat with the best sushi chef in the United States. We tailgated his table. We got there 2 hours before doors opened. and there was one person in front of us in line that was being paid to wait, and she was being seated at the 7 o'clock, and we were going for 5 o'clock. She was cool. We tailgated with her. We passed around some of Seattle's own Rainier, which is like Seattle's PBR, I think would be a good way to phrase it out. It's really good.
Yep.
Nice.
And just kind of hung out and went checked out different things. We got to this table. Yeah, that was apparently the only option. Was the option I came for, but even then I was surprised. But it was the best dining experience of my life. We apparently got the best seats in the house. He was very interactive with us. He was talking to us about everything. Definitely the highest quality sushi I've ever eaten.
And
so
one of the best parts was our table mates. Awesome. Like the people we're sitting next to ended up being really cool. Like you normally when I go to a restaurant, I'm not looking to interact with everyone around, but I was chatting it up with the lady next to her. Her and her husband were really awesome. There was this other couple. So yeah, tremendous experience, and just what a delightful dining with these people who, were just sharing. Oh, what was your favorite sushi bite? Like what? Just awesome. Like
That's great.
It was lovely, John. Overall,
I love that community experience.
Jeremy, what was your favorite bite?
Honestly, thinking back, it's got to be when he did the last two. There was like a collar and a belly, I think, of two different kinds of tuna, or those were both incredible. And it's typically not the kind of meat that they use for cuts of sushi, so it's like kind of even more of a delicacy, almost scrap, I guess, but fucking delicious, dude. It was the best.
Is that the one that like it's the pork belly of tuna? Is that thing?
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
Nice.
So good. Well, Jeremy, I was really glad you could join us for that. I think we were all kind of surprised by it, but money kind of comes and goes in life, and I'm spending on stupider shit than that, and definitely the best meal of my life. So
for sure, agree.
Glad I had somebody that could vouch for it with me.
It's a bit of a small home loan for this payment for the dinner, by the sounds of things.
Yeah, we were all like taking pictures of our sushi because, like, honestly, each bite was presented so beautifully, and like you're like, okay, I'm gonna wait, and you eat from right to left. It's just amazing. I can't put it over more. Sushi Kashiba in Seattle literally is the best sushi in the United States.
Awesome. Kashiba Shiro.
I fucked it up. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Kashiba Shiro.
Yeah,
well, Kashiba Sushi is the name of his restaurant. His previous restaurant was Shiro's, which was his last name. So he goes by his first name. Jeremy, I'll kind of leave it with this. You may enjoy this. He just kept saying that over and over again, like, you may enjoy this.
Oh, yeah.
With each bite that he'd sit down, you put it down in front of you and just watch as you ate it. It's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, you got a kick out of him enjoying serving us, because like he clearly, like, when he offered us the first hors d'oeuvre, he's like 2 bites, and he's like watching to make sure that you eat it in that fashion. Because
that's good. You're learning. You're learning as you go. Not making these sushi faux pas. It's great, man. Well, I'm very happy we got to hear about both the 3-2-1 experience, but then also this sushi experience. Did you guys do much else, like any bars or anything like that, or are you pretty much still off of the bars because of the non-beer thing, Jeremy?
Me and John hit up while they were tailgating. We left Whitney in line with our friend Penny, the line leader, and me and John went and grabbed a drink across the street. But that's about it. It was. He had some sort of ginger drink. I had some. They might called the Midnight Fire. I forget what was in it, but yeah, expensive cocktails across the streets to pregame for sushi.
Nice.
Oh, the final point of Whitney's is she did really enjoy the macaroons. We stayed at the market. Quick point. We stayed right at Pike Place Market. It was the best location I've ever. I got a really good deal on an Airbnb. It was the first time I'd ever been rented. Prices have already been doubled per night based on what I've seen. Got a place like right where you want to be for basically $110 a night or so. Memory foam mattress, whole place, like apartment style, luxury style. It was great. And we would always start and finish our day around the market. And we kept going back to these macaroons. So if you ever get a chance, go get these macaroons. Don't wait 4 days to eat the last 2 like we did. Just go ahead and eat them all. You want to.
Get them all
but fantastic. Seattle has some great food down there. So I appreciate Jeremy hanging out with that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I went to second, and what was it, Ballard? Is that what I'm looking for, Jeremy? Second Ballard?
I think that close. It was like roughly, yeah.
Yeah, I went down there my first night and had a really good time. Guys, there's a historic district. For example, there's the Crocodile venue, which had like Nirvana and Pearl Jam and Soundgarden, all these people that have come through there, as well as other touring acts. And then all these bars around there, they're all different types. They all have their own kind of shtick and whatever. Lots of pinball, things like that. And some of that area is all being torn down and moved down, like a block or two, to make room for some kind of thing that they're doing. But it was apparently that's what everybody was telling me I should check out before I left, just because of the historical, relevance of those bars. And it was a good area to hang out. I kept going back out there.
Nice. Yeah, Seattle seemed really nice. I was only there for like one night when Jeremy took me around a little bit last trip, but I definitely want to go back and experience it a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm a shitty tour guide, so you definitely
was awesome.
go and indulge yourself. Yeah, fair.
We had some
I showed
tasty
Jeremy
beers.
around sushi. So
Yes, I didn't even know that place existed before he came into town.
Well, there you go.
Fantastic.
That's great.
I may never eat there again, but I'm glad I did.
Yes, sir.
Well, guys, I appreciate you having me on. I'm going to get downstairs to this party. We are having a Friendsgiving with me and all my friends. I'm upstairs in a bedroom right now. We've been having some, cocktails and turkey and ham day after. Just a Friendsgiving for everybody. So, Australia, what that is, we give thanks for like family and things like that. I don't know if you ever celebrate.
I think it translates pretty easy.
It does.
We give thanks. We sit around, we drink beers together.
And his friends
Talk about our
involved.
Yeah.
No. Everyone watches their favorite episode of Friends.
Oh, delightful.
No,
I like
that's
it.
not it.
Boo, damn it. Boo, that's what I want to do next year. Friends
All right,
marathon
we'll go
with
enjoy
turkey.
your turkey and your stuffing, sir.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving for you guys. A belated one from yesterday.
Thanksgiving, I'm thankful for both of you. You guys have deeply enriched my enjoyment of wrestling, and it's always good to see you guys whenever we travel to other cities. I feel like you're always going to be there, and can always kind of bank on that. So very thankful for you guys. Thankful for this podcast for giving me some sort of justification for the amount that we travel to go to this shit, and looking forward to the next one.
Oh, that's great, man. I love it. I'm thankful for you too, man. I really enjoy when we have you on, and even more so when we get to hang out in person, especially when we get to do it as a big wrestling family that we have now. So I think we're all thankful for that, man. Love it.
I can't wait. And Whitney leaned over and said that she loves you guys as well, and we'll see you soon.
Aw.
Adios. Peace.
Right
Love
back
you.
at you, Whitney. Awesome, man. All right. Thanks, brother, and
You have a great
we'll
night.
talk to you later. Take care.
Good night. Bye.
Night. All right. That was cool. I like that. I like when we just get the dinner and drinks and that kind of side of things outside of just the wrestling shows. I like to
Dude,
think that we're a bit of a travel show when it comes to food and beverages as well.
The kicker on that whole thing is I had to get out of there before the end of dinner, so the bill didn't actually. I didn't see it.
Yeah.
I got a text later from
Oh.
John that said, "Holy fuck." So I did the, when you don't know what to say, but you have to say something, a bunch of dots.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how much? He's like, $600. And mind you, we did each got a drink, but the drinks were only like $10. So that
Yeah.
just take into account how much the dinner was.
And so how
Auto
many people was
gratuity,
that
too.
for the table, for the $600 table?
Yeah, it was just the three of us.
Fuck me. I feel like all Australians are especially getting the burn of that, like when we do the currency conversion into in Australian dollars. Let's add a little point, like 30% on top of that, or 35%. Ouch,
Shit.
man.
Yeah.
Yikes. But at least it was the best meal you ever ate. That's what I like to hear.
Yes, sir. I'm not even overselling it. It literally was. It was so good.
That's fantastic. Because if you paid that and it wasn't the best meal you ever had, you would have a problem, I would think.
Maybe I'm just rationalizing it to myself. Yeah, it was the best fucking meal you had, dude. The best fucking meal you ever had. You believe that shit? The best thing you ever eaten. Best bites ever.
I had the same thing with my buddy Clint. I'm not sure if I told you this, but we went to a bar and we got this beer that we just really liked the label of. It was this real funny thing. But we'd said before, we're definitely going to have this beer on this night. And we find out Clint gets the round and he comes over and he's like, dude, so those beers, $35 each. But let me tell you this, my friend, best beer I ever drank.
Yeah, right, it was. That's awesome.
At least it was a Tolly bottle for that, but yeah, you know.
So like 22 for $35.
Yeah. Tasty
22 fluid
as
ounces is
fuck.
what we go by up here.
Yeah,
You have the weight ounces, you have the fluid ounces. Like it's crazy. It's crazy.
All right, so I think we are up to the main event of this show. We are ready for the genius madman mind behind Underworld Wrestling. My friend Adam Bruiser. So let's see if we can just get him on the line here. Here we go.
For centuries, the underworld has been known to the few, the rich, the spoiled, the privileged, the greedy, and the exalted. However, for the first time in hundreds of years, the doors to underworld wrestling are now open to the foolish and curious, such as yourself. Please come in, wipe your feet, and enter the underworld. Careful though, our patrons can be a little hostile. Welcomes are few and far between in Melbourne's longest-running fight club. Led by the psychotic Lord Mark Williamson, Underworld Wrestling has been conquered and overran by his insidious following, the Claw, for one reason only, to create the stage for their uprising to win the prestigious Underworld Wrestling Championships. Remember, this is not wrestling as you know. These fighters of fate are literally battling till everything they are spent and destroyed. Each victory brings them one step closer to their ultimate destiny, and every loss is more devastating since they know deep down what the consequences really mean. For this is Underworld Wrestling, the end of all things.
So, like, yeah,
that's fucking awesome to hear. Is this being recorded? Is this on the show?
No, I didn't get him putting you over. But we're going
let's start that over. Let's start recording.
No, it was good. Yeah, it was really
Appreciate
cool,
it,
man.
man.
Like,
That's awesome.
yeah, I was. We got some. You know what? We got some really good promos for you coming up with Pitbull from the last filming. I think you'll love them.
Ooh,
Fuck yeah, dude.
Love. All right, so before we get any more gold, I'll introduce you at the very least. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm stoked to have another one of my good friends of yesteryear on the show. We only interview my friends, just so everybody knows. But I'm quite excited for this friend, particularly because both of how long we go back, how much mutual interests we have in the more obscure shit in wrestling, but also because he is the mastermind, the evil creative genius behind Underworld Wrestling, which I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I'm the 2.5 episodes in, and I'm loving the shit out of it. The concept, the craziness, the secret cult fight club that's been going on for many moons.
Sir.
The Claw. Fuck, man, I love it. So yeah, I'm so stoked to have you on. Welcome to the show, Adam Bruiser. How's it going, bud?
Thank you very much, man. Great. Yeah, that was a great introduction. Also, I feel like I'm just making the show for you guys.
Excellent. That's great to hear.
Appreciate
It's
it.
just for you guys, right? Like,
Yep.
you know, but like, no, seriously, it's really cool that, you know, you bring up, like, we have a lot of crossover in our pop culture love, and it goes back to you kindly picking me up at the airport in my traveling days when I was destroying my
I
body.
did the young boy rookie airport run for a few
Carried
different
the
wrestlers
bags.
back in the day. Yep,
Carried
carried
the
the
bags
bags
too.
Yep,
As
classic
was,
young boy.
as was the yep. Oh man, fuck. Yeah, I just remember lots of talking about. I think you just started, or you were just about to launch into some very old school territory wrestling. And I remember just. I think I was a big kick of watching all of DiBiase's work before he turned on JYD.
Yeah, in Mid South.
And we launched into just gigantic talk, which which today could probably still keep going.
Man, that's so good. I remember so that this first day where I first met Adam Bruiser, back when your name was actually Rancid, which a side note, you actually got me into the fucking amazing band Rancid. So I discovered that because of your worker name, and now it's like one of my favorite bands. Hey, so great.
That's great. I actually hated that name.
Yeah.
And I argued with the promoter that gave it to me. And I remember my argument was like, yeah, well, what? If I was a metalhead, would you call me the Iron Maiden? Well, how about a wrestler's the name Metallica? You know, but he wasn't having any bar of it. But he
I'm Judas Priest, damn it.
Yeah, exactly. You know. That'd probably get over really, really well, you know?
Yeah, actually.
Come out draped in leather and chains. Who's hell bent for wrestling?
Well, we did have the Kiss Demon as a wrestler, right? That was the thing.
There.
Dale Torborg.
That's single-handedly bankrupt WCW. That's the background for the story. It's the actual truth. Gene got such a good deal for him.
So great.
Gene is brilliant.
My favorite
honestly,
part.
if you doubt his genius, the fact that he got a wrestler based off the Kiss Demon on live television, brilliant, man.
My favorite part was that he couldn't appear unless it was advertised as the main event. So every match that he had, regardless of where it was on the card, had to be announced as the main event.
That's even better.
Yeah, that's great.
That's like the greatest deal in history.
Yeah. Such a Hogan deal.
Him and
I
Lanny
love it.
Poffo. Him and Lanny.
Oh.
Lanny got paid a lot of money not to wrestle.
But
so
getting back to my thing, I was going to say, the first
Yes.
time I met you, right, we had this lovely chat about, like, fucking awesome old school wrestling. I'm pretty sure we already both confessed our love to one another of, like, Abdullah the Butcher and Bruiser Brody and all that rad shit. But then that night, you worked this dude who I wasn't really a fan of. I'm not even going to mention his name. I think he fucked something up, and you proceeded to beat the fucking shit out of him. And afterwards, like, there was some heat from some people, but I remember telling you, brother, that was the fucking best thing I've ever seen. And then I feel like the love story just was forever after.
Man, no, I safely beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a
Nothing
mauling.
dangerous. Yeah.
You just let him know. You let him know.
Oh, he knew.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's like 6 rows deep and everyone backstage. But, you know.
Awkward. That's amazing.
It was a rougher scene back then. I mean, like,
It was really the Wild Wild West.
yeah, wrestling has evolved since I hung up the boots here. You know, 12 years ago now, something 10 years back. Jesus.
Yeah. Maybe wouldn't fly today in the current political climate of wrestling, but alas.
There's still a place for workers that do like to have the stiffer matches. I think in Australia especially, like some of the boys do like to work snug, and I was always a fan of it on request, but I'd never just go out there and just maul somebody. Like, although I did get a reputation for that. But I got a it was good. I sold my wrestling career on the reputation of being a Bruiser Brody type, and eventually changed my name to Adam Bruiser and did the Husk gimmick and like, you know, cleaned up in my last years as I was on the way out, which was fun here.
You were the only guy I've seen in Australian wrestling that actually did the complete Stan Hansen Bruiser Brody entrance, where you wildly go into the crowd swinging the fucking chain, not giving a shit if anyone actually gets it. It's their fault to run away. I remember there was one near lawsuit from a guy that I'm not going to mention, but...
Awesome.
Wow, man, yeah, totally. also, the only worker to stuff people in bins that were being used by the crowd.
I like it. I'm really putting you over here, man. You know,
consensual violence. You know, I mean, like if you've ever looked at anywhere on Underworld's social media, you'll see a lot of the nods to consensual violence. I mean, it's an underlining theme.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and if you watch the product obviously you have, you know, it's a big nod to the old school. I mean, maybe the wrestling's not the best in the world, but we're trying to nod to sort of, you know, everything of yesteryear, where, you know, even the guys on the bottom of the card sort of had some reason for being there.
Yeah, I feel,
you know?
and I said it in the past, like it's definite vibes to ECW and the older ECW television show, even down to like the cuts and just the whole card. You know, no matter whether you're looking at a dude from your let's say a Tracy Smothers or a Little Guido, all the way up to like a Jerry Lynn or a Steve Corino or a Raven or whatever. Like everyone on the card has something. No one's just there for the sake of here's a dude just there to take up some time on the card because we need to fill out 2.5 hours. Like everyone's has got a point to what they're doing, and I really like that.
Well, that's kind of like how I learned about wrestling and also how I fell in love with it. So like, you know, tape trading VHS when I was like 14, 15, I really was heavily into it. And I was watching a lot of that ECW TV, that 96, 97 period.
Yeah, man. I reckon 95 was like the hottest, most exciting year when it just sort of
they did so much. Like...
Yeah, it changed completely from watching it like 94 and then like how much it just actually becomes ECW and that rabid cult crowd and everything, like just from 94
as
to
sort of
95.
Todd Gordon slips out,
yeah.
As Gordon slips out and Heyman gets more control, and like he just had so much good content, not just like the wrestling, but like the promos that he would get out of his guys. They always just seem so real.
Yeah,
and even the cheesy stuff, and like I think it just sort of. It stemmed from Heyman's just obsession and love with wrestling, with the business, which is the guys, and just putting the focus on the talent. And I think he put so much faith in them, and that's why they had a sort of a good locker room, or to my understanding of why it was somewhat of a family. And in many senses, that's the template for what I wanted to do with Underworld. Like, you know, I still go and watch ECW TV to this day. Like, I still have some rips of the VHS stuff, and I'll still go through it and watch that when I just want to disconnect and just be a fan again.
Yeah, same. I'm the same as that. I'll watch it every now and then. It's like, it's been a while since I watched it, and I'll just make my way through I think I'm like late 95, where I'm just watching every episode and Big Show. But I mean, you have to watch it off of the VHSs or like the old rips, because you can't watch the network ones, because if you take the official license, you know, the music out of ECW, it completely fucks it. Yeah.
It's similar to like watching Beavis and Butthead. Like I can't watch any of the DVD rips. I want to find like the MTV and like I've got all that stuff, and that's it's the only way to watch it. Like that's kind of the culture of, you know, I guess how we grew up. So yeah, that's me kind of grasping at those things. Like I love that BuzzFeed television of the 90s when it was just like, we're loud, we're in your face, and then you know,
so good.
It's suddenly some fucking crazy hip hop track and Pantera in there and dudes diving off balconies, you know, and then you're like, and there's New Jack stapling some dude like 1,000,000 times, you know, like I love that kind of shit. That's
probably
that's
Angel
culture,
from the
man.
Baldies. It's probably Angel.
Yeah, probably.
I never really thought about that. Fucking how awful Beavis and Butthead would be without the actual music. Like, what these guys are just sitting there, yeah, and then you're like, nothing's going on. Like,
They just cut it out.
them walking around. Oh, so it's
Yeah,
just them walking around? That's horseshit.
Yeah, it's just yeah. Like the episodes themselves were just like, you know, he gets something stuck in his ass and he's in the emergency ward, or like he deep fries his hand and then has to go to the emergency ward, or does something else and he gets arrested. You know, like they weren't like cutting edge. Some of it was really good, but like in terms of pushing censorship, they were a great thing. But like without that music and because Mike Judge would do it all ad lib, so he'd watch the music and then like that's why all the cartoon was the same. They'd replay the same things. Like I think it was only 8 or so animated things that they could do when they were critiquing the music. He'd do it all there, like you know, like whose line is it anyway style. And that's what gave it for me anyway. That's what I would watch it for.
Yeah,
hell yeah,
same. I mean, on that being said, I fucking loved the movie. And the movie was like almost
tremendous.
like completely what we were talking about. Like it's just them going off and having this, doing things.
So you're just pointing out that I'm a hypocrite. Okay, thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.
That's what I'm here for.
No.
Rad soundtrack on that movie, though.
I love the simple stuff. Like, I forget the name of the guy, but the guy who wrestled Slade in the first episode, he got his promo first. So you're putting this guy over a big boot, and then Slade beats him. Like, both guys get over because of that. So it's like easy. It's like simple booking and simple structuring of a TV show. So it's pretty obvious, but it's simple and awesome.
Yeah,
thank you. That's exactly what I'm aiming for.
Yeah, I mean, as much as a lot of people would like watch it and just expect this wild craziness because of the concept and stuff like that. I mean, you have that. You have the really out there concept, like high, lofty kind of a approach to doing a television show type of deal. But at the same time, like the actual basics of the wrestling. I've done really well. Like there's a lot of nods to like your old sort of basic stuff from like a Mid-South, like Bill Watts kind of shit. I mean, one of my favorite segments was where before, I think it was like the first multi-person match, you guys had the referees in the room going over the actual rule book, which I thought was so fucking cool, and actually like reading it out and then establishing it. And yeah, I think a lot of this stuff and like the timer and everything, it like makes sense. And it's like a lot of wrestling that we watch today, it's like, oh, it's not cool to go over this basic stuff. People already know it. But it's great to reiterate that because it places importance on it. And the biggest thing is like how much importance you guys put on wins and losses. And that's so fucking refreshing in today's wrestling where so much wins and losses mean fucking nothing. But like with the points and like the promos and how much like guys need this win to be in contention, I just love that you guys have made wins and losses mean something. It's great. I mean, it's such basic wrestling, but it's fucking great.
That's pretty much the name of the game, right? Like I kind of wanted to take wrestling back to a structure where you kind of knew what was going to happen, and then you'd see those inevitable swerves, like, oh shit, because it happened sort of like outside the realm of matches. But like when they had to build things on TV and they needed to build a star and they come into a territory for X amount of time, they had to like mow through some jobbers and then go up to the big arena and fight for the titles, the Midwest title or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And so booking had a transparency to it then too. And that's kind of the nod that I want to do with the point system. Like if you come in late to Underworld, you can look at the points and you go, okay, that's a job guy, that's a mid-card guy, that's a high-tier guy. Just from looking at the points. So you can kind of guess where it's going. And then, boom, we can do a floodgate, which is just, like two things that I wanted to change in wrestling was like, I really hate the reliance on run-ins.
Yeah.
Nothing against that booking style, but like it's too much now that you have to have and I wanted to challenge myself basically to be more creative with it. Like so I had to come up with the floodgate idea basically. And also at the same time I was trying to cater something more to television because I really wanted to aim at getting on television. which is, exactly sort of what happened. But like, so sort of like day one, I was like, how do I implement a structure where the fans can sort of tell the basic idea of what's happening without needing to know too much. But then also I had the challenge of, you got to make your job guys strong in terms of, like Jeremy just said before, like when Slickback fought Slade, it could have gone either way because they both got presented as stars.
Yes, sir.
So like that's kind of like, it's the nod to the old stuff and a bit of the nod to the ECW. But then I'm like, I want to breathe fresh air into wrestling.
Yeah. To me, it's almost like so. I kind of liken it a little bit to the time where we were at the end of the 80s, start of the 90s, like in the Japan scene, where it's like we were so used to whenever there was big names in a match, there'd be like it'd end in like a brawl on the outside, or like Brody kind of stuff. Like how many times you see Brody put over a guy. I mean, it happens sometimes, but for the most part, it's always going to end in some garbage, disqualification kind of thing. And that was just accepted. But it got to a point where people were like, this is, it kind of sucks. And then we had the world completely change when UWF came in, and it was all about clean finishes because they're promoting, shoot style thing of wrestling as a actual, fighting martial art type of deal. And that actually forced the hand of New Japan and All Japan to actually, stop being lazy with these finishes where it's just, this is a disqualification, this is a count out, blah, blah, blah. And actually go to clean finishes. And that's almost where we are now again. It's like it's so oversaturated wrestling with like all these bullshit run-ins and fuck finishes and this, that, the other. Like it's so refreshing to actually see, wrestling under the context of, all right, we're going to get a clean finish, or if there's a run-in, there's actually like a thing in place with the floodgate to where it's made to make sense under the overall context of things. I like it a lot.
Yep.
My favorite part about the gate is it's like the best part of wrestling. Royal Rumble entrance, the countdown clicks down, then it pops open. Everyone pops for the Royal Rumble reveal, so you get one every match. Hopefully, it's not guaranteed, but fans have that anticipation coming each show. So
yeah, and it's like a heightened thing that when the countdown is getting near, like, oh fuck, we've only got 2 minutes left. Jeez, this is maybe going to be the floodgates coming open, and it actually. Yeah, time limits is another thing. How long has it been in American professional wrestling since they actually announced this match will have a 12-minute time limit or a 30-minute time limit or whatever? It's so cool to actually make the time limit of the match an actual, like proper part of things. Did you plan on having the timer displayed right from the start? Like it was going to be a visible thing that people could see count down?
That was definitely always going to be something that we wanted to have. Like that was number one. We need the timer on.
Yeah.
Because you can't just yell it. It would take away the aesthetic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every couple minutes. 9 minutes.
Yes.
8 minutes.
That was definitely something that we always wanted to show off. Like pretty much like the two challenges were like put the clock up and build a gate.
Yeah. That gate is sick, man. Where did that come from?
There's a branch of the claw.
Yes.
That happens to also secret agent in a metal workshop.
Oh, how convenient!
and in
Who
this
is this
particular in this particular manifestation's spare time, managed to knock it off and bam it up for us.
Beautiful.
I love it.
And then everything inside this company is very much fuzzy and warm and friendly and family orientated in that strange sense. Like you notice most of the guys that are on the card, guys that yourself personally, obviously, from the Australian scene. So it's like, getting to see the new crop of dudes coming up under them and my old friends, whenever we run these shows, and like everyone that's lent a hand or sort of done something within it has like just sort of become part of this like ragtag mob.
That's awesome.
Like, so, like, yeah, it's cool. Like, it's what we need because I call it a project over a wrestling company.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit of an arty take, or it's a brasher take, and like it's a real. We've boiled down wrestling. Like, the shit that used to really irritate me, where they'd be like, "We're going to talk to 3 guys before it gets to a wrestler," and then they're going to cut a promo about what 3 dudes have just told us he's going to say.
Yeah.
Kind of like, I wanted to get rid of all that. So yeah, the quick cutting. It's like, and at the start it was like convincing my team and writing things that they were like, okay, so then we'll do this shot and it shoots to the commentator. I'm like, but we're not writing wrestling TV. This isn't WCW. We're not doing that. We're not even doing ECW. We're doing Underworld. It's different. It's like every time it cuts back, it's like cuts back from a live show. So you're seeing a live show happening, and then it changes the channel to what's going on backstage. Like, it's like the idea of walking behind the curtain.
Yep.
And really, that's the real the real attempt at the presentation of it, is that it's without those segues. So those guys commentating might not necessarily know. They have to go and find out themselves, and they're probably in the know, like the way that wrestling works when you go to a show. Like, you go to your local indie, or you're overseas and you go, oh, there's some wrestling, and you go check it out. I don't know any of these guys. You have a beer with one guy at the bar or around the corner, and suddenly everything that's going on. Like, I want that feeling there too. That must be present, because like that's how we all got roped into wrestling, was the fandom of it.
Yeah, for real. I mean, I particularly like the fact that so you actually, with all of these pre-tapes and everything, it's all under the context of like not there's an invisible camera that happens to be catching this private moment. Most of the time it's their guys that are actually talking to the camera, during their backstage interview, or we have the interview person who's like asking them their thoughts or whatever. Like or like a promo that they've sent in, like the one that the Jackson Kelly, is it that sweet one that you did in Bondi? Like I really like that. Yeah.
He'd beat you up. He'd give you the boot for saying Bondi, and you said it twice now, so that's like 2 boots.
Oh shit! But isn't he the Bondi beach bum? Isn't it in his name?
No, like
No, it's
4
an
times
Manly.
you said Bondi.
It's 3 boots. I don't know if you're going to recover from this. I don't think anyone's ever survived 2 boots.
I mean, that's a pretty sizable boot that he wears as well. I'm going to be pretty fucked up.
And if you look at the sole of it, it's the Goodyear boot too.
Wow. I mean, with my concussion issues, fuck me, I'm in trouble here.
You're gonna be painting in completely different colors.
It's just black and white. Oh.
The best thing is too. I know this for a fact. Jackson Kelly would get up very early in the morning. He'd work on his tan. He'd have a coffee. He'd give you a boot or 3, and then he'd go off to find a big breakfast, and then he'd get about his day in defense of Manly.
I like the fact that, especially, that he has to have the coffee first, because I can relate to that. Coffee, boot, breakfast. That order.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep. Tell me about the Amazon Prime deal. Like, that's the part that really blew my mind, because we were talking when we had Slade on the show about how that time when I was down there in Melbourne, and I got to see you like first time in fucking forever. Hey, it was after the Okada's first match in
Okada
Melbourne
versus Slex MCW. Yeah, went out for birthday drinks.
I
got slaughtered and spent $150 on one of Fale's New Japan jackets and felt like a 17-year-old.
the training jacket, right? So everyone remembers, you see the young boys in New Japan wear these sick tracksuits. You decided you needed that tracksuit jacket despite the crazy cost.
It's so funny because like every time I put it on, I'm like, I swear some huge American is just going to kick the shit out of me.
Hey, it's better than these. What do you think of the dudes that buy the Ribera jackets? like to try to be like, because it's quite a thing to actually be gifted one. But I mean, to wear one after you've bought it from someone else who's been gifted one, I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I don't know, man. Those River jackets are in a league of their own.
It's a sick
fight
aesthetic.
I'd fight my mother and a pack of hungry coyotes for one.
I love it.
I've never set foot in. Well, I've never wrestled a lick, but I want one.
Yeah.
I'd walk around. Yeah, fuck yeah, Ribera Steakhouse up in this bitch. I don't give a fuck.
I think the greatest deal that ever fell through in wrestling history. It's not Brody versus Hogan. It's Ribera didn't fucking give the license to pro wrestling tees.
Oh, they could have made hella money, especially with the fucking jackets that they have now. Oh man, good
right,
call,
exactly.
Good call.
Did you guys hear about the deal that they had with the Road Warriors when they were like officially in business with Zubaz? And so they had the Zubaz Ribera combined deal where they sent them over like thousands of these Ribera shirts to go in with their marketing
amazing.
with the Zubaz. And like that's how much is that like the classic look of the wrestler? You got your bum bag, you got your Zubaz, you got your Ribera jacket.
Yeah. I'll get you back on topic here, man.
Let's
we
do
were
it.
talking
Let's do
about
it.
being wasted with Slade after MCW on my birthday. I'm there brimming with joy in my young boy jacket as I shovel down my 800 scotch of the night.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What if a cult ran wrestling?"
So guys, there's going to be this gate. There's going to be this gate. There's going to be points. There's going to be this, that, the other. The esteemed leader of the Claw is there as well, and we're all just hearing it for the first time. And I'm like, that'd be fucking cool. But then fast forward a year, and there's like an Amazon deal in place, and like it's an actual fucking thing. Tell us about how this went from this fucking, zany idea that you're popping the boys with your rad concepts to actually this happening and being on Amazon.
The Amazon deal was directly because we got so much hype off of doing the Kickstarter, and the Kickstarter was the direct result of not knowing whether or not people would be ready for this.
Yeah,
because it's a hella concept. Like, are people ready for zany, arty, fucking theater-driven wrestling that's also incredibly competitive and sporting? Like, it's coming. It's like usually people pick one or the other. Like, if it's sport, they treat it like sport, and every and they have all the serious conversation. Then if it's theater, it's theater-driven. So yeah, like putting it on the Kickstarter was the test. Like, we knew we could run it. We knew we could do it. It was like, do people want to see this?
Yeah.
So with that, like we basically trended really well. Like Justine's a really great community leader. She does so much stuff online. Like, we'll chip in and sort of, if anyone writes to us, one of three of us will write back as if we're the cult. Which has generated like tremendous customer feedback, and people just love it because it's like you can have a little fun whilst you're arranging to go get seats at a wrestling show.
Can I ask, is there an email signature that signs off as the cult?
Usually it's just hashtag glory to the claw.
Great.
So but like the claw's becoming more of a diabolical heel and losing traction with the fans because they're like, you've worked with Mark. He just gets worse and worse as he progressively moves through his story.
I honestly love the fact that the Claw, even though they're an ancient cult, have come through with the times and have developed a social media platform and are aware of hashtags. So that's very nice.
Well, they've got to come up, in the modern world after they've finally opened up this underworld cult fight club to the public. They've had to get on these things. Yeah.
The backstory on it is that Mark wormed his way into a cult and then threw out all the leaders and then took their fight club and made it public. So now he needs the public's money to continue trying to get the belts together.
Oh.
I like
it. So yeah. But basically, with all the zany ideas in play and the Kickstarter just it took off traction. Like
that was so beyond my wildest expectations when I was like checking on it. I was like, wow, this is so fucking great.
So basically, it just Kickstarter got behind it. They made it like an official thing we love, kind of, which is their gimmick. We got onto like the front page of the Australian Kickstarter. So if you just go to the Kickstarter, there we are. And then like I think we were like 8th or 6th or something in the world. But at the same time, across the WrestleMania weekend, we were the top page of the subreddit on the Squared Circle for like 48 hours on the WrestleMania weekend.
Wow.
And then during WrestleMania, this is the craziest thing. During WrestleMania, we had like some stupid amount of like views on the Kickstarter, and all day we got these trickles of $1 and $2 US donations, just donations.
Yep.
And that bumped us by, a considerable amount just in that weekend. And from that, it just snowballed, and we hit the goal. And I was like, oh shit, people do actually want to see this. And then straight after that, a video on demand service that work and put stuff up on Amazon got in contact with us, and they were like, what's the deal with this? You're making this TV show. It sounds really good. We got contacted by Twitch as well. And we ended up going with the Amazon deal, because Twitch we would have needed to produce too much content. I feel like we would have been too content poor, despite being a better deal.
And I do think Twitch is quite saturated with the wrestling product right now, whereas with Amazon Prime, you guys are like the only, good wrestling content on there.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, there's also some other stuff coming up that I can't quite get into yet, but in a couple of weeks, we're going to have what I consider to be major game-changing announcement.
Ooh, guys, keep your ears and eyes peeled. That's excited.
Just on the Amazon platform, I do consider myself at this point to be a pioneer for Australian wrestling, flying the flag of getting us out there into other countries. And that was always the goal, was to set up a platform for what I believe to be some of the most talented wrestlers on earth. And this has been a big push through the guy that helped us get on Amazon, and met myself and the team. So in a couple of weeks, we're going to announce something that should be pretty fucking cool. It's expanding our reach exponentially.
I am waiting with bated breath, so I am looking forward to that one. But cool. We've talked quite a few times about like the Australian wrestling scene. We've had different guys on. We've spoken to Jonah, obviously to Matt, and it's like the Australian scene is such undiscovered gem for a lot of the world. It's only really started blowing up with dudes going overseas to PWG, to the UK, and doing rad shit over there. But there's a lot of fun stuff over here outside of just Melbourne City Wrestling, which is basically that's sort of the main promotion. It's like a lot of people think that's pretty much it, and to an extent, there is a lot of trash bag shit out there that you don't want to watch, but there are other companies that do really good shit. Your Underworld Wrestling being a great example of that, and the best part about it being so accessible to international viewers. So I mean, that's why I really wanted, as soon as I watched that first episode, I'm like, I want to fucking do as much as we can to just try to spotlight that to international wrestling fans, American wrestling fans, because it's a great, fun example of doing something different, but also just seeing what Australian wrestling is about.
Yeah, it's a big trickle down effect too. Like, if the American fans are biting on some of the Australian culture, like obviously Pitbull is a bit of a sleeper hit.
It's such a great example for people that like don't even know Chopper Reed, and yet they're seeing Pitbull and they're like, I fucking love this guy.
I actually think Chopper may have stolen Pitbull's gimmick.
Oh, I'm quite certain,
because it's so legit. Like when you hear Stone Cold talk and you're like, wow, he actually is full on Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yeah. It's one of those deals. Like Pitbull is full on Pitbull.
That is so great.
That's why I gravitated to him immediately.
Easily my favorite character on the whole
please
show.
let him know. I'm a huge fan. Please let him know.
Both of us.
He'll know. We'll make sure.
Excellent.
One of the guys I never even actually met in my days in the wrestling, but fuck man, he's so good.
Yeah, and like he is such a unique slice of Australiana.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. We did the filming just last Friday for what is going to become hopefully 3 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the stuff that we got with Pitbull and Mad Dog having a discussion about what the Fight Club used to be like back in the day.
Oh, that sounds like it's going to be tremendous.
Yeah, like I think it's very Australian, and I try to inject as much Aussie sort of into one place and just let those guys just get to it, and just do what they're really great at doing.
That's amazing. And for all our listeners at home, if you like Pitbull, you may not have heard of Mad Dog, but Mad Dog is his own slice of OG Aussie wrestling hardcore Australiana that's just so unique. And I can't wait to see what people think of him.
Mad Dog is like Necro Butcher if he never quit.
And had a big sick dog tattoo in his chest.
He's got a pit bull with a human body doing a muscle pose on his stomach. Or a bulldog, awesome. Mate. I think it's a bulldog. And then he's got another bulldog tattoo on his arm that says Mad Dog. And those are his tattoos. Just 2 odes to being a mad dog.
Yep.
And like, if you don't know the Australian term mad dog, it's literally just like, beer sculling, pot smoking, door breaking with headbutt giving, Aussie icon.
I like that you corrected yourself from saying Aussie bogan to Aussie icon. Well done.
He's not a bogan though. Mad dogs aren't bogans. They're not. Mad dog's a sick cunt.
Yeah.
It's like if you've been a sick cunt for long enough, you get upgraded to Mad Dog.
Like Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yeah, you evolve.
Yeah, you evolve with lots of beer and a couple of big joints.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Definitely I would say rather than joints, the weed smoked out of the beer can. You gotta do it that way, I think.
The tinnies.
Proper Australian. Yeah.
Oh man.
That'll work in a pinch.
Yeah.
It does work in a pinch. I've seen a few lonely souls do the old tinny, come up with the black lips.
I just remembered our tinny from New Orleans, Jeremy.
Oh yes, sir. Yeah, we had to make do. Yeah, we could. Like, where are we gonna go find a pipe randomly? Oh, and then that was a hell of an evening. Fucked up some cocaine that wasn't cocaine all the way through. For me,
I'll give you a nice Aussie story about pot smokery. So back in Chris's day, when we were kicking around in Queensland, we used to party at the mansion of one Donny St. Michael. And we were having one of our mega parties, and there's one of the referees, Warren Moon, who I named after Jackie Moon for the Flint Tropics from the movie Semi-Pro.
Yeah, the same amazing throne.
So he's absolutely wasted, and he gets down on one knee and he snatches this bong, and he goes to smoke. And as he does this, the now WWE superstar Buddy Murphy explodes into the party. And as he opens the door, he's like, "Hey!" And he looks down. He sees Warren Moon. He's like, "What's Warren Moon doing? Smoking one of those funny cigarettes." And like Moon just pisses himself laughing, and it's just like he just shoots all the water out.
Oh no!
Saturates everyone sitting next to him that he's kneeling in front of. Like,
I've seen that happen once or twice. Party
one
foul.
Of those, party foul. And he didn't recover for the rest of the night though. He fell into a laughing fit. Like, what the fuck's a funny cigarette? Just. And that was it. He was gone.
What's Warren Moon doing?
I'm definitely blaming Matt Silver, Buddy Murphy for that one. That's not Warren Moon's fault at all. Putting the blame on Silver.
He wanted nothing to do with those funny cigarettes, let me tell you. He was off in the corner flexing and drinking beers.
I am not surprised at all. That is exactly the Matt Silver that I've heard stories about. Oh my, we have fun. We have fun.
Yes.
So, all right. When you knew you had the Amazon Prime thing in place, was there almost like a pressure to where you're like, holy fuck, we better make this good. This better be what we want it to be, or were you like, nah, man, we got this.
There wasn't, like, I was all chill about it, and then like in the middle of like one stressful night trying to organize a bunch of shit, old mate Australian Suicide Ryan Rollins hit me up, and like he's like, so heaps of fucking pressure, everyone's talking about it over here, and then I was like, what? And it sort of dawned on me that the world actually was talking about Underworld Wrestling, and I was like, no, we can totally do this. And I'm like, fuck, man. He literally wrote like, wow, man, you guys look really awesome. Huge amount of pressure. You better deliver the goods. I'm like,
What a dick!
Fuck you, Australian Suicide.
Nah, Australian Suicide's the bomb, man. Like,
I like him.
Man,
No, that's a good way to bust balls. Like if you knew your friend was doing it, yeah, a lot of pressure, mate. Fuck yeah.
I taught this kid, seriously, when he was a kid, I taught him how to fucking Brody his way out of most situations. And like he used to get picked on really bad. And I pushed him to stand up for himself whilst also being a jerk to him until he stood up to me. And then I sold it so well that it gave him that little boost to just kick out of everything. And yeah, man, I've seen that dude, like, he's like the punkest dude ever. Like, if you think me swinging chains and running through the crowd's punk rock, you got to hang out with this man.
He has
if you
face
prank
tats
this guy
now.
Dude, but if you prank this guy, he will legit chase you with a deodorant can and set you on fire.
Oh yeah,
He works up down in Mexico, right?
yeah.
Yeah, so he lives over there like a crazy person.
I reckon
Transferred to
he could have left Mexico 100 times over with the talent that he has.
For real.
But the crazy anarcho lifestyle over there just appeals to a little punk rocker like him.
Yeah,
That's
I think
fucking awesome.
You created a fucking monster, man. Because I remember first time I met that motherfucker. He was like the most shy kid. Like he was like scared to even in like putting his match together. He was like even scared to suggest stuff. Like he would like not talk to anybody, and then go to the monster that we see today. I'm looking at you, friend.
Yeah, man. No, he totally, like, he hit me up the other day. He's like, Bookers tried to tell me what to do, told me to get fucked. You taught me well. Like, that's my boy.
I love
Good
it.
on you.
Beautiful.
Plus, we have like identical music taste as well. Like heaps in all the horror punk shit. So
Yeah. That's like another thing we bonded over, the Misfits, right?
yep, totally, man.
Yeah. Love it. Man, would you ever have thought that we would see the day where Danzig is back touring as the original lineup is back together? What the fuck?
I don't know, man. Everyone gets hungry, right?
Yeah. I mean,
everyone comes out of retirement. We all run out of money eventually.
Yeah. You got to put aside
Like-
your difficult nature. I always
But,
blame
like,
Jerry
time
only,
heals
though.
all wounds.
Yeah.
Like, like even in like, how many times do people have absolute massive blowouts in like wrestling, entertainment, all types of industries, especially music, only to sort of, come back together. Like it always happens. We get angry and then it's like, 10 years later and you're like, I've changed. Because fuck, man, like people actually do change. Like when you're younger, you don't think it's possible. But when you like get up there in your 30s like I am, you realize that, people actually can change, man.
Yeah, I believe in that.
Like, I'll give you a great example. Like, so I wouldn't say me and Gambino ever got along in the past. We were chalk and cheese, and I won't even get into the reasons. But you could literally say like, he was like, PC, I'm gonna go be a cop, and I'm like, fuck that, I'm a badass punk metalhead.
Yeah,
and we just didn't get along.
This is Gino Gambino of Bullet Club fame for all of those playing at home.
Oh, too sweet, brother.
Ooh.
Yeah, so like, we never really got along. But then you fast forward to now, and he took me and Mark out to cigar bar. We sat down, had a great night. Ended up going to the casino, having a few drinks. He's just super chill dude, super easy to talk to. Just like we all just grew up.
Yeah.
In that sense, so like I think if anything, coming back to wrestling, doing Underworld, it's like it's been full circle for me because I came into wrestling to heal things. Like I think a lot of why people come into wrestling is sort of like we fall in love with it when we're younger, which is where the fandom starts. But I think a lot of people who wrestle, they come into it to sort of heal things, like, you know, because it's an extreme fucking sport. Like, and you bond with people in ways like, you know, yeah, come out there and kick me in the head and I'll fly off the balcony and fall through 40 tables, kind of in the weirdest way. Like, and you bond through such strange art. Like, I think when I came into wrestling, I was really lost and I was looking for something, you know, and it matured me, it grew me up. And then when I got injured, that humbled me. And that knocked all the ego and all the fucking, I'm a big bad 6 foot 330 kilo fucking 180 bench press and fucking, you know, like it humbled me all the way down, but I still loved wrestling. So like coming back around again and just meeting everyone, how they've changed in the time that I was away, and sort of yeah, like learning. It's been a real learning process, a full circle thing. Like I was saying before, like Underworld's like a family. And it's like, it's funny how, because like I always say with Gino, like I really respect him. I always wanted to wrestle him wherever he went. I tried to go there because like I thought he was a phenomenal talent. And then to see him walk out of New Japan in that Rumble, you know, that felt amazing. Like whenever I see the Aussie guys do well, it feels amazing. And like for those playing at home that wouldn't understand, like Australia is a place where we don't have proper education in wrestling. We don't have superstars, but right now we have a bubbling scene. I'd say they're hungrier than ever. Like I don't think there's a place in the world that would be as hungry as the Australian wrestling scene right now. And like, not only that, but all the guys, they know the importance of, they've got to do well. So the guys that are underneath them and are now nipping at their heels can do well. And like, and then having said that, it's like when I see these guys like Robbie Eagles go over there, because like, you know, Mark helped set up PWA in Sydney when it was PWA Elite with Ryan and Madison. And then Ryan and Madison continued, and Ryan, you know, when he opened the first training school, I used to go down there and train. And I remember seeing Robbie come in, and now to see him in New Japan, it fills me with this incredible feeling. Like it's such a amazing thing to think people are actually waking up to the Australian product. And then that got me so hungry. Like I have, like, you know, all these feelings. Like just before that happened, it got me so hungry to put Underworld out there and go, hey, here's sort of, you know, what else we can do.
Yeah, it's always great to me when like the dudes that like spearheaded that success and people knowing about the Aussie scene are just good dudes. Like I mean, between Jonah and Robbie Eagles, like and Davis as well, like Mark Davis in the UK. Like these are all guys that I know are really good guys, and like they're the ones getting success. Yeah, for man,
watch these guys grow up here.
Compared like the Mark Davis that I knew from when I was like first training, and probably the same one you knew back then as well, to like the dude that he is now, completely different thing. Hey.
Yeah, and like I came in very similar. Like I came in very, very similar to wrestling. Like I was young, I had a big mouth, I didn't exactly have a great role model or father figure or anything to sort of guide me. And like wrestling was very outlaw in Australia some 20 years ago. And yeah, like to see not only that all these guys have matured and grown up, but like they're rebuilding, like replenishing this scene. It's like it is actually really incredible. Like you have Mick Moretti doing a lot for the scene, the movement, and like a lot of those PWA dudes are like really, really kicking ass. And with Jag being signed to NXT to become a trainer,
man, how much does that just tell you straight up? Like the great work that he's been doing this whole time, because he was an amazing trainer down in Wrestle Rampage, like for the last like decade, I want to say. And just in Adelaide in general, and then the success he's had in Japan, and then like he's been recognised for being the great trainer that he is, and in the WWE Performance Center, like that tells you how good this scene can be.
And little things like that are what's the key to working our way over into the hearts of America and into a bigger scene, because like this is the scariest thing, right? in Australia, I don't think a wrestling company can ever reach the heights that it should or it used to in the 90s or previously, just due to the fact that a lot of Australian culture is influenced heavily by what the world does.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, in Underworld sense, that really led me to want that's what got us the Amazon deal. That's what made me write the TV the way it is. That's what made me push it into it. Like, I'm making this to really, I want to get into that America market. I want the fans to support it to the point where we can do a similar thing to Progress and take it over and tour it.
Yeah.
Like, that's something that I really want to do, but it's like we need to push into that market. And I don't think like the American fans realize how much they could help by just supporting. It doesn't necessarily need to be Underworld. It could be Wrestle Rampage, or it could be EPW or anyone, you know,
EWA,
like,
Black Label, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, Wrestling Go, anyone, and you know, there's so many good places here that are just brimming with talent, and the economical situation in Australia is good, and you can't support wrestling monthly on live. But if we want to get anything into a deeper TV market, we all need to penetrate into the international market. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do with Underworld. It's the beginnings of that. I'm trying to reach for, hey guys, check out what we're doing. Send help.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool to know. Like, that's the long game. And I agree. Like, that's the real measure of success, I think, when we can get the world looking at this, and then you actually being able to take advantage of that by actually doing stuff with that market.
Yep.
Rad, man. Fuck. Really cool to talk to you, dude. Every time I see you, it's like, it's great to catch up. And then it's, I don't know. I hope, hey, I want to ask you, the wrestling church thing. Was that last week?
Yep. November 11th.
November 11th. Fucking tell me about that, and please explain wrestling church to Jeremy. I fucking wish I could have been able to come down for that. That sounded fun as shit.
Okay, so Wrestling Church is basically a bunch of wrestling fans. We sit in a bar, we get drunk, play Nintendo 64, WCW NWO Revenge. We had a tournament, and we're going to watch the 1995 Cactus Jack death match for the IWA Japan Kawasaki Dream.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I actually want to do another one probably in the new year.
Rad, man. I want to come down for that. Is that gonna? Hopefully, that can line up with a show or taping or something.
Yeah, if things work out for what I'm attempting to line up next year, we're gonna have a show that you won't want to miss in a venue that you'll need to be in with an after party that'll be definitely worth it.
All right, that's all you need. All you need to tell me, brother.
I'm heavily considering promoting the show with, like, I don't know if you've ever been to a squat gig or like a illegal warehouse party or anything like that.
Yeah, like pop up.
It's really,
yeah, man, really cool.
Yeah. Well, like, I used to love that shit when I was playing in bands, and like I still do, but I just don't get the chance to go out or move in the scenes where I would really get invited. But like, I really love the vibe of having to know somebody that knows the address.
Yeah.
And I really want to promote an event where it's like you get the address given to you when you buy a ticket.
Oh man.
And I think I found the perfect venue for it, and like hopefully everything works out. I'm not going to jinx myself by talking about it too much.
Yeah,
but,
let's just keep it on the down low. But fuck, I hope that materializes, man. That sounds real cool.
Yeah, I really want to transfer the audience into the vibe of what I'm trying to present. Like, it really is an underground illegal fight club.
Yeah.
And the Claw really are fighting for these mystical fucking relics, and they want to get these two belts together for reasons unknown. But the fate of the universe is in your hands.
Yeah, truly. Watch out. They'll get them together, and then everyone will just, like, 50% of the population will just disintegrate.
Oh, somebody did that gimmick already.
Ah, boo.
It was Vince. Vince. He did that gimmick already, right? Oh no, wait, it was Thanos. My bad. Sorry, I was confusing those two guys.
I was gonna say The Simpsons. So.
Simpsons did it.
Isn't that a weird twist where that's actually true now because Disney owned Fox, which is The Simpsons. They also own Marvel.
Yeah. Fuck, it's a weird world.
Man, Lisa Simpson's my favorite Disney princess.
I'm more a Mindy Simmons man myself.
All right.
Ooh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
And
Controversial, but Homer fucked up there.
Yeah.
should,
What could have been?
What could have been?
I remember never being as emotionally torn as I was as a young man watching that. Being like, oh, what are you doing, Homer?
Oh, this has been an awesome chat, bros.
This is what
Yes,
I love.
sir.
We've
Thanks for
we've
joining us.
talked fucking some Simpsons. We've talked other weird shit. We've rambled through some craziness. We've talked Rancid. Just the whole
We
gamut.
missed the best part of everyone putting me over at the top of the show that wasn't being recorded. I'm really bummed. That was great.
Everyone put you over so hard, bro.
Everybody over here in Australia absolutely loves you, dude. Like your enthusiasm for wrestling, especially for Underworld, has popped many a locker room.
That's great to hear, honestly, because I am not always the most cheery inside, but I like to broadcast positivity. It definitely makes me feel better, especially when that touches other people. So that's great to hear, man.
Well, that's totally how it's being perceived over here, man. So you can go to bed smiling knowing that you're popping us all.
Yeah, cool. Bookended that conversation with me being put over. Pat on the back. No, thanks, man. Your product's awesome. Honestly, it's the best thing about it is because it is the simplicity of just simple structured wrestling with this over-the-top presentation that needs to catch people's attention these days. So I love it.
Yeah, thank you very much, man. Yeah, that's definitely the name of the game.
All right, man. Let's hit some plugs. What you got for us?
Me?
Yeah.
What am I plugging? Man, are you serious?
I'm
just going to talk about
it's a website.
Oh man, no, I just want to talk about cool shit. Like everyone should listen to this rap group Czarface. They're really good. It's inspected. CZAR Czarface.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think I've gotten onto them. I've had a taste.
L7 and Esoteric and Inspector Deck from Wu-Tang.
Esoteric from fucking.
Yeah.
Oh, Bliss and Esso?
What? Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, the rapper Esoteric. Maybe it's a different guy. Two people with the same fucking rap name.
Maybe. I don't know enough about it. I'm literally I love Cool Keith. Everyone should listen to Cool Keith.
Fuck yeah.
Okay. You can't tell me to plug my own shit. I'm just gonna plug cool stuff, man. Like run out and watch Godzilla DVDs. Everyone should see Death Copper. He does an attitude adjustment through a building to one of the kaiju.
These are the plugs that I fucking want now for everybody. Don't plug your own shit. Just tell us rad shit to check out and Google.
Yeah, man.
That's how we should end the show every time. No plugs. Tell people cool shit to check out. What's your favorite cereal? Go.
Oh man, chocolate Lucky Charms.
All right.
But we can't get them here, so I got to import them. But then also chocolate Shreddies, which are from the UK. So I can only get my favorite cereals imported.
Damn.
But that's
I'm
when
on
you
this
know
whole
how
trip
good
now.
they are.
I got to plug something else. I'm on this no milk trip, and I've been having really decent coconut milk with my cereal.
Ooh.
It bams it up a notch, man. You want to try that shit?
Bam.
These are the hot tips that I want.
How do you milk a coconut? How do you milk a coconut?
They've got liquid in them. You crack it open.
Yeah.
I thought they had nipples. Sorry.
See, that's what you've been doing wrong, man. Looking for the nipples.
You should have been finding Jimmy Snooker's head to smash it on his skull.
Oh.
To get the milk out.
If wrestling has taught me anything. Rad.
But yeah, man, if you want to hit us up, we're on Pivot Share. You can go to our website, underworldwrestling.com, and find absolutely everything there. Do follow us on Instagram and Twitter at UW Fight Club.
Oh, you ruined the gimmick. You ruined the gimmick by giving actual plugs.
Man, I had to do it. I had to do it all serious.
Oh.
But yeah, like if you ever want to talk weird shit with me, find me and come at me, especially weird Japanese zombie movies that happen to be kind of baseball related. It's a bit of a fetish of mine.
I'll get you in you, bro.
I really hope you get some weird people hit you up from this.
Oh, bro, I love talking. Seriously, I love talking like weird pop culture stuff, man. Here, I'll leave you with the story. So, do you remember Shadow Phoenix?
I sure do. Aki Inoue.
Okay.
Aki. So for people playing at home, dude from the Toriumon, I think was like the Toriumon.
Yeah, Murcielago.
Yeah, Murcielago. Also, he was a big Murcielago in Osaka Pro, right?
I can't remember. Flash Moon in Osaka Pro.
Yeah, that's
Murcielago
it.
in Turamon.
Yeah. So
There
he
we
was
go.
a big name, and then he actually came over for a fair few shows over here, and I actually got to train with him a fair bit. Rad dude, I really, really like him. And he had probably the best match that I'd ever seen in person in Australian wrestling. Him and
that
Chris
match.
Hero.
Yep, and it was like It was like watching Skyder and Ultimo Dragon go at it. But
Yeah.
like
Oh,
at
so
a
great.
million miles an hour. It was incredible. Okay, so Shadow lived with me for a bunch of time, and like remember when I was kind of getting fit, he used to just drag me to the gym and teach me how to work out. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so like he'd watched pretty much everything in my house that was Japanese, bar one of my favorite movies, Battlefield Stadium. And it's basically a just bizarre like zombie comedy about like fighting baseball.
Okay.
I'm all about this.
So basically, he refused to watch it,
Ooh.
and like we got in a heated discussion, and I told him that he dishonored me. And so the next day, he's like, I have thought about it, and we will watch the movie, but I don't guarantee that I will like it. So we put it on, and it's like the opening scene, and he's howling with laughter, and he's like, by the end of the night, he's like falling off the couch laughing. And so like I'm like, okay, cool, and I go to sleep, and then I wake up the next morning, and he's watching it with the director's commentary, and he fucking grabs me and he drags me to the couch and he's telling me all the fucking shit that's even funnier about the movie. He's like, all these people, students, they didn't get paid. Like he's just like pissing himself laughing. Like, and then so like months later he gets back to Japan and he sends me this photo of him and he's like with one of the fucking actors.
What?
And he's got an autographed copy of it.
Oh,
That's awesome.
He like refused. It's like, no, this is a very stupid movie. He like read it all. No, stupid movie. I'm not going to watch this movie. Too stupid.
Oh, that's fantastic. I hope that just made your week when you got that photo of him with the autographed copy.
Dude, totally. Like, I think, like, the only thing that actually that just recently topped it was Mason went to Japan and he got Ken45 to send me a personal fuck off message, which was amazing.
Ken45, big punk wrestler over there in Michinoku Pro.
He does shows. He does wrestling and punk shows. So he'll wrestle, get busted open, and then like he'll walk from the ring to the stage and then do a set.
So punk.
That's punk as fuck.
Yeah.
He's practically the Henry Rollins of pro wrestling, I'd like to think.
Oh, totally.
Yep. So good. Oh, all right. Thank you so much for coming on, man. That was fun as
Thank you,
shit.
sir.
Absolute
This was great.
pleasure to catch up, man.
You too, bro. We'll have to get you on down the road, maybe when all that crazy shit is about to go down, and you can talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, man, that'd be dope.
All right.
For sure.
Sweet. Thanks again for coming on, man. You take care.
No worries.
Peace.
See ya.
Bye. All right, cool. So that interview was really fun. I enjoyed myself
Dude, I
quite
haven't
a
spent
bit.
more time laughing. There's a lot of laughter audio that happened on this show, and I think that's an indication of a good podcast. We had a lot of fun.
I think so. I had a great time. We talked a gamut of things, outside of just wrestling. And I'm completely full of my own shit on this show. I just like talking to my buddies and reminiscing. I don't know whether other people enjoy it, but I have fun.
I just try to get my shit in while I'm around, And Adam is awesome. It's fucking great to talk to somebody who comes up with an actually unique concept. There's obvious comparisons that can be drawn with other products, but this clearly and truly is something pretty unique and pretty awesome and really thought out. So great to have him on to discuss his little passion.
It was really cool because it was like the last episode where we, for the first time, were just kind of like giving our takes on Underworld Wrestling, and then now we've talked to the intelligent monster Slade Mercer. We've talked to the Booker man himself, Adam Bruiser. This is great.
Muckety muck.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. This is fun. All right. I hope everyone else enjoyed that.
And also, he introduced something I think we should try to adopt. The not necessarily plugging. You can plug, but just put over some stuff that you think is cool.
Yeah.
I like that concept. We might have to adopt that permanently.
I think so. I think definitely in lieu of us having these big money sponsorships, which are definitely on their way for this show. We'll just give shout outs to rad shit. I like it. I like it.
Fuck yeah. Hey, shout out to Chinese food. It's delicious. Fuck yeah.
I'm personally more of a Szechuan kind of guy when it comes to the Chinese food. I like Chinese food, but of the Szechuan variety, the really salty, spicy.
Not a Cantonese guy?
Not particularly. Yeah, I need salty spiciness, vinegariness, all of that.
Respect.
Yep.
Well, put your plugs out, buddy.
All right. So, I mean, myself, as always, you can check me out on the Instagram and the Twitter at Chris Things. I have to come up with some sort of art thing for Adam. In addition to, there's no way I cannot commemorate this amazing moment in the life of David Arquette. So, I'm going to be busy. I hope everyone enjoyed the tree monster rendition of Slade Mercer that
it was really cool.
Tribute a little while ago. So yeah, it's a fun time. How about you, sir? Where can we find you?
I am both on Instagram and Twitter at James Vanderbeek, JAIMS Vanderbeek. After that @symbol. Get after me if you need a shirt design, or if you want to just tell me you think my shit is funny, or share a interesting name that you maybe want me to Photoshop. If it's funny enough, I'll fucking do it.
He's very open, friends. And also, if you are a worker and you need some merch, well, I know where you should go. You should hit up Mr. James Vanderbeek, and he'll be able to sort you right out in a jiffy.
I would love to help out, of course.
Very talented man. I always point to the amazing Scott Steiner shirt. It was so good. So good. Are they still selling? Still doing well? Great.
Yes, sir.
So many puns, so little time. All right. I mean, let's get to the rest of the plugs for Social Suplex. Always get on that Social Suplex Pro Wrestling Podcast Network. There's a lot of other fun content other than just us. You can find that at socialsuplex.com. The range of shows going from the One Nation Radio, Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show, the Outsiders Edge Wrestling Show, and of course, keeping it strong style with our boy, the young boy Josh Smith, along with Arthur Jeremy. Check it out, socialsuplex.com. All right. So that's it. I think this is going to be quite the long-running show. So as always...
Courtney, hope you enjoyed this one. Get swifty, everybody.
Have fun, guys. Thanks for listening.
Bird is a word, a bird, 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 a bird, a bird, bird, bird.